a lot of signups for data centers. We are going to pull that item up. This is going to be the second hearing, but just for all the sake of all the people that are here, rather than have you wait to the end, we're moving that up forward. So staff can present.
84?
P84.
Do you want to know?
It was proof?
Yep. So P84 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times, May 27th, 2026.
All right. Amy Toll, Planning, Development, and Economic Growth. While we get the presentation loaded, this is a county-initiated ordinance to protect the county from any intrusion of the moratorium for development orders and building permit site plans for the relationship to data centers. And while we're pulling up the presentation, I'll go ahead and read the ordinance into record. So item P84 is PDE 26-0777. It's an ordinance by the Pasco County Board of County Commissioners establishing a temporary moratorium on the submission and acceptance of applications for building permits, site plans, development orders, development agreements, special exception uses, conditional uses, rezonings, and comprehensive plan amendments related to data centers, large-scale data centers, and other large load customers within unincorporated Pasco County, providing for authority, legislative findings of fact, temporary moratorium imposed, duration of temporary moratorium, severability, and an effective date. And I have Amanda here to do the presentation.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Amanda Hill, Planning, Development, and Economic Growth. So I'd just like to state for the record that additional public comments were received for this item and have been submitted to the clerk's office for the file of record. So at the last public hearing for this item, we discussed briefly the data center moratoria activity that was happening across the state. And I just wanted to give you a brief update on that. So this updated map illustrates the 25 counties and 2 cities that are currently considering, in the process of enacting, or already enacted a moratorium regarding this matter. As a reminder regarding the applicability of the moratorium, the draft ordinance previously proposed to establish a 12-month moratorium during which the county would not accept any applications for data centers and other large load customers. The moratorium would not apply to server rooms or other computer rooms that typically house IT and network equipment and accessory or incidental data centers that are on site for the principal use. Now, if the board determines a public necessity, an existing development agreement or a new one can be adopted for a non-large load data center, provided that the conditions imposed address at minimum the items listed on the screen. At the first public hearing for this item, the board directed staff to include e-waste as a category for the conditions to be addressed if such an agreement is amended or adopted. On June 16, 2026, the board applied the pending ordinance doctrine to this ordinance. The public hearing for the proposed ordinance was first advertised in the Tampa Bay Times on May 27, 2026. As such, upon adoption and filing with the state, the moratorium will be retroactively applicable from May 27, 2026. And a new whereas clause has been included in the ordinance to reflect this decision by the board. PDE further contemplated the board and LPA discussions regarding the exemption of data centers that serve as an incidental use for this ordinance. And based on additional research, a proposed cap of 2.5 megawatts is established for the maximum power demand for an incidental use. This will help to ensure that the exemption is not abused or utilized in a way to circumvent the moratorium. Additional revisions were included to align the language used in Section 3 applicability with the established terms that are currently defined within the Land Development Code. Additionally, Section 5, duration of temporary moratorium, was revised to further clarify the board's ability to extend the moratorium based on a legislative determination if so desired. and this item comes to you with a recommendation for approval, and I'm here for any questions that you may have.
Okay. So this is a board-initiated item that started back in May 27th. We had to have 2 public hearings after we advertised it and had it brought before the board. After doing that, we did have 3 public hearings? Okay. Okay, so 2 Board of County Commissioners and a Planning Commission. The first one, we did make some additions. Instead of being at, I think, 10 megawatts, we went down to 2.5. That's a big drop. E-waste was a conversation piece that came up. We did add that in there. Other than that, it's fully intact to what we had looked at, proposed, and I think you guys did a great job in speed getting it forward. And then in the complexity, I think what you've isolated is this moratorium is rock solid for us, so we don't have to worry about any data centers for a year. At the last meeting, there was conversation, and I think you're going to find everybody supports what we're doing here from the board. So I've got a lot of public comment. The reason I moved this item up forward is because we've got a lot of business. We have 2 major items we didn't even get to this morning because of time resolutions, and our lobbyists can really talk. So they slowed us down, so we got a lot of items to go through. So I brought this forward, and again, it's important to us that we get this right, and I think we've got it right, and I think you're going to find full support. And to make it easy for the board, I'm going to just ask the board, do any board members have any questions for the staff that you want to discuss further, or do you think we all have it in place? Everybody's good? Okay, so for the public to speak, that pretty much tells you this is going to get approved. Not a big forecaster, but it looks pretty good from what I can see. If you support what we're doing and you really want to speak, if you want to just say, like the state does, I waive in support, you'll save time. Otherwise, you'll have your 3 minutes to talk. But we really want to get through the rest of our business, but I do want to take care of this to let you know how important it is we are moving it right up. So if you really need to speak, so be it. If you can pass on that, you'll let us get the rest of the work done, which is quite a bit today. So is there anyone who would like to speak that has signed up?
All right.
Okay.
Do you want me to call the names?
Yep,
and then
call the
give them
names.
the opportunity? Okay.
Well, maybe not everyone will come up. Why don't you just take the ones that raise their hands?
Well, they can waive in support if they're,
When I call their name?
when they call their name,
Okay.
if that's what they wish to do. Otherwise, they can speak to you.
Okay, so the first one I believe is for P84. It doesn't say. Cindy Scarda.
Thank you for letting me speak today. I appreciate your time and your consideration. We all know how important this...
Ms. Scarda, can you give your name and address for the record? I apologize.
My name is Cindy Scarda. I'm at 29157 Cochiti Lake Drive, San Antonio. I'm
Okay.
here on behalf of myself as a concerned citizen.
Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
So I appreciate you taking the time to listen to all your constituents about this big item. It's very important. Florida is very unique in its aquifer. It's very permeable because of its limestone base. So it's different than any other state in the country. I think we have enough data centers, as people have talked about, and I appreciate your moratorium consideration. But I also think that maybe we need a permanent ban. There are 2 other counties in the state that have moved to make a permanent ban on these data centers, the large scale. So I appreciate your amendments and what your recommendations are from your staff. And just want to take the time. There was a big headline here recently. Rep. Harriet Hagman from Wyoming demands answers after Mark Zuckerberg's $800 million Meta data center caught contaminating Wyoming's wastewater. It forced the city to shut down its reclaimed wastewater system for months, and it was because of a bacterial contamination in the facility's closed-loop cooling system, a technology that is marketed as being a solution to high data center water consumption rates. So there is a big risk of contamination to our groundwater, and I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Thank you very much for your time.
And those who want to bring in other information, we're going to look at this for a whole year. Through this whole year, if you have data or stories that come up that you want to share with us, staff will take a look at it. They'll be part of the record. We're going to look at all of it. So if you would want to just make that, to submit it to us, we can submit that to you at any time.
Well, thank you. I have other stuff too. But
Okay,
thank you
send
for
it, send it all to us. We'll take it and we'll put it in the record. We'll take a look at it. And we're going to bring it back again as we go further with this. So again, all the information you got, if you just want to submit it, we can submit it and look at it.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I just wanted the county attorney to talk about the process about permanent bans.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'll be happy to. The purpose of a moratorium is to do an analysis to see what restrictions would be necessary to permit a data center, or if there are no, if it can't be adequately protected through your regulations to allow, then you may be able to consider that is not an appropriate use to be housed in Pasco County. But without doing that initial analysis during a moratorium, that's why a moratorium is done, is to allow the county the time to do the evaluation and to implement regulations, whatever they may be, during that 1-year period. That is the legal use of a moratorium.
Okay,
Again, thank you for letting me speak.
all right, thank you.
Okay, the next individual is Jeff Roberts.
Thank you for giving me a few moments. My name is Jeff Roberts. I'm at 6036 Japonica Court, Newport Richey, Florida. I'm coming here as a retired United States Central Command portfolio manager. So I have some experience in this. I started back working with NASA and everything on the other coast.
Can you just,
I started working back with NASA and everything on the other coast.
Thank
I'm
you.
used to speaking about. I'm going to shorten mine up to already say that we currently have 100 data centers currently operational in the state of Florida. These are of different size and scope and scale. There are 12,000 active data centers in the world, and this already serves 95% of the users with no issues. What I would say based on the ordinance, again, it's my humble opinion that right now what we're experiencing is when you get the Revco, Rexall, Kmart, all of those different corporations and companies fighting to see who's the best, there are over 1,000 large language models out there right now. Some of them are big, generic, like ChatGPT and Grok. Some of them are little and specific, like something that Moffat would use. They're all in a fight to see who's going to get the ground. That's what we're experiencing here. And personally, I don't think that fight's going to be over for the next year. It's going to be 3 to 5. So until they do that fight of who's going to win that capitalist thing, you need to hold off. And with that, then it would be my humble opinion that due to the size, scope, and scale of our current population, we will need some kind of a data center, whether it be Polk County, Pasco, or whatever, to both do Orlando and the Tampa region. I don't know where that's going to fall geophysically, but there will need to be one on this side for hyperscaling. And when I say the hyperscaling, people use it to buy space. Think about the average person doesn't need to buy a crane. The average person rents a crane. So that's what's going to be happening at these hyperscale spaces. So you don't need to have one for every last little thing that's going to be doing on it. They buy time and space on there. One thing that I'm unclear about the exact details of the cutout for the IT is we do need to make sure that with those provisions that the major developments that are going on in our area have the ability to put in the houses that aren't really a house, the T1, what used to be a T1 node, the fiber optic nodes and other things like that in those areas. And those don't take up any more power than a normal house would, about an 1,800 square foot house. So allowing for that to go in there to hyperscale the transmission of the data is going to be critical for the build outs. So that's it.
Do you have that written down?
I have all of this. I put it in, I submitted it to the other thing with a lot more, but I'm cutting it out because it's unnecessary. But that kind of data is out there. And if anybody has any other questions on the thing,
Did you submit it?
it's the dealing with the terminology that we need to talk about versus dealing with the fear and the factors. Like, I've been in a few different data centers. I'm sorry, I'm over my time. And none of them have used water for it. The water that's been in there has been in toilets and sewers and like for the people. It's an ineffective cooling thing. You're going to use air conditioning type of systems. You're going to use ethylene glycol and some combination of those kind of things for closed loop cooling systems when you're talking about massive scale. Now, I would also say that we need to focus on making these places use solar
Thank you, sir.
backup. So, thank you.
All right, the next individual signed up is Christy Zimmer.
Hello, Christy Zimmer, 3615 Pinecone Court, Land O'Lakes. Thank you so much for all the work you guys have done to get it this far. Very much appreciated. I do have a concern if this covers the young man that was at the different meetings pumping his data center that he was going to be building without having to rezone it out at I-75 and 52. He's not considered a mega or large, and he was talking about 19.9 megawatts, which is under this allowable 2.5, and he was also talking about 350 million gallons of water, and then this possible recooling system, which will involve all the chemicals involved. Is this preventing him from being able to move forward and build his data center? And is there a way, when you're in your planning, that we can limit the type of users of these data centers? Because what they're doing is they're building a base, then they have these buyers who come in and buy their space for the data processing. If we can eliminate any and all ELPRs from being able to utilize those data centers, that would be a good thing to do when you're in that process of trying to create some guidelines. Please let me know if that eliminates him or not.
I believe it does.
David Engel, Planning and Economic Development Director. It does, sir. The proposal over at Double Branch is inside of this moratorium and cannot proceed.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Please, don't clap. Thank you.
The next individual signed up is David Hammond.
And who's after David?
And then Michael Patoric after that.
Good afternoon. My name's Dave Hammond. Address is 30034 Vienna Woods Lane in Wesley Chapel. I'd just like to start saying, as a Pasco County resident, I'm very interested in hearing that this moratorium is more than likely going to pass today. I did watch the June 16th meeting, and I was very concerned with the apparent lack of basic understanding of what a data center is, especially the ones that we're talking about here, and how we might need to define our terms on blocking them or creating the moratorium for them. But I'm relieved to understand that you apparently have done that homework and you seem to know, although I think the general public still does not. And the term I think we all need to become familiar with, as was just mentioned, is hyperscale, and those are certainly the data centers that we would all be concerned with. As was previously mentioned, from my own little investigation, I found that there are more or less 120, is the number that I heard, data centers in operation in Florida already. 24 of them in Hillsborough County alone. That's, 20% of all of the data centers in the state. And there isn't that big concern about those, simply because they're primarily what are called enterprise, co-location, telecom edge. They are small facilities. One of them is sitting in downtown Tampa. And they are taking care of our day-to-day business. When you pick up your phone, when you log onto your computer, when you post out on Facebook, these are all primarily being done by these smaller ones. The hyperscale ones, however, are the ones that are going to be, they're going to need to be built. I just don't believe they necessarily need to be built here. I'm not sure if I understood what a previous statement about where they might be located, Orlando, somewhere around Tampa, maybe in the Miami area, Jacksonville, who knows. But I don't think they need to be here. And appreciate your taking the time to agree and put this moratorium in place. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Michael Patoric or Patoric?
And who's after that?
Okay.
And who's after?
And then after that, it is unclear. RTETTL? Okay. She knows who she is.
Ready? Okay, Michael Poltoric. My address is protected, and I am a candidate for House District 54, by the way.
It's not an advertising platform, sir.
I'm sorry?
Not an advertising platform.
Yeah, my apologies. This gentleman from NASA just proved our point, okay? The data centers that we may need can fit into 1,800 square feet. These are not 150,000 square foot facilities that we need here. They actually create their own security risks because we don't know who's inside of it or which China infiltrated companies and platforms are inside of those data centers. You heard from a young lady that worked for the government before that Google and Meta and Amazon, they don't need these hyperscale locations. But our tax dollars are being used to incentivize those to still come here right now. If a data center wants to come here, let them build a desal plant so they're not using our aquifer. When they say they can use toilet water, we found out in the planning commission meeting with the engineers that they're talking about using reclaimed water. We don't have enough reclaimed water for us as it is. Even reclaimed water users are on restrictions right now. But there was a question asked in the last meeting that really got me thinking. And it was about, and I didn't pose the question, but they asked if any of you had signed non-disclosure agreements. And it got me thinking, and here's the reason why. I believe in transparency and accountability from the government at all levels, okay? There was a bill that went through the Senate this session, 484, Senate Bill 484, and it would have banned non-disclosure agreements between government officials and the data center developers. When it went to the House, that language was taken out before it was allowed to pass and go back to the Senate. So they protected non-disclosure agreements at the state level. That's an issue. That is a transparency issue. That is a problem.
We're in the
I have a
county,
problem
sir.
with that. I'm sorry?
We're in the county, we're not the state.
I understand, but
We got different requirements, we have to disclose if we have a conflict.
I understand. But here's what my request is at a county level, when we're talking about the forever bill, the forever verbiage that you're going to use, we would ask for the sake of transparency and accountability at a county level for you not to allow any non-disclosure agreements between government and elected officials in these data centers. If it's a homeland security issue, NDAs, not a question, but that's security.
Sir, we are bound for to have to disclose any conflicts of interest. That would be that, so we don't have that.
Perfect.
So it's already in,
That's
it's in
all we
law.
asked for.
It's in law.
Awesome. Fantastic. We thank you for this moratorium. It's going to help out a lot because we want to see you get it done the right way. So we thank you for that. Okay? We do. We appreciate everything you guys do. Thank you for doing this.
Okay.
Could I get a motion? Mr. Hammond, who spoke before, wants to receive and file his documents that he talked about.
Yeah.
Move to receive and file.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All
Go
set?
ahead.
Yep.
Your name and address for the record, please.
Rebecca Teft, 6155 Missouri Avenue, Newport Richey, Florida. I spoke at the last meeting, and I left there feeling very optimistic that you guys were actually listening to what everybody had to say. So thank you for your attention and conscientiousness about that. So actually what I wrote today was about things to consider doing for the moratorium, some regulations and rules to look at. I copied a man out of Kentucky called Peter Lynch and the legislation he wrote for his area. Before I read that, I do want to mention that if we think that we need more data, AI is a whole different animal, which is quite frightening, and you all are probably aware of that. But if we need the science and medicine, they can be built on already impermeable grounds, such as universities or hospitals, and serve that science and medicine need directly without taking our cherished and fragile ecosystem that we have left in Florida. We really don't have that much left. These planning and zoning people are covering up all of our green stuff. So, sorry about that. And one other thing, this employment center in Brooksville, that's for rezoning, I looked up the company and to say, what does this company do? And it's private. And they are having a rezoning for this farmland for a company who doesn't even tell you who they are or what they do. It felt AI data center sneaky stuff to me. All right, there's my rant. So, Peter Lynch in Kentucky presented legislation that there's a 3-year moratorium to look at AI data centers. There are 200 non-operating centers already in the United States because technology advanced beyond the size of the center. So rather than refurbish it and build it up, they went and built a bigger one somewhere else. So 3 years is really, we may find in 5 years we don't even need these megastructures, particularly if they get quantum computing combined with AI. Quantum doesn't require data or generate all that heat. No NDAs, you already talked about that. Ban all above 5,000 square feet. Restrict max utility connection to a peak of 5 megawatts. You did 2.5 today. Create distinct industrial subclassifications to limit the sound that comes out of these at 3 decibels or less at property lines. So a limit of how far your infrastructure sound goes as well as your audible sounds. Require DX cooling and cell power, which has to be generated on site.
Okay. If you'd like to we can receive and file that if you'd like, and then we'll have it in the record. Would you like us to receive and file that so we can put it in the record?
Would that be okay?
Okay. Motion? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Now part of the record.
Okay, the next person who has signed up is Margaret St. James, followed by Chris Shaver.
Good afternoon. My name is Margaret St. James. I live at 37202 Sandra Avenue in Zephyr Hills. I agree with most of what the previous speakers have stated, so there's no sense going over that. As I understand it, the moratorium is only scheduled to be for 1 year. And that would give some time to gather, maybe enough time to gather information. While we don't want to talk politics, we have to admit that this is an election year, and that some decisions may be made this year during an election season, even though not everyone is up for re-election, but some are. Decisions may be made this year that there is less pressure to make next year, which I think is one reason that some people want an extended moratorium and not just during this election year. And while we're talking about moratoriums because of impacts on the community, the commission might want to think about moratoriums on development, which also impacts the community, especially in terms of water and some of these other concerns. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Shaver, or Ms.
And who's next?
After it's Angel Fletcher Kaminzul.
Hi, my name is Chris Shaver. I live at 37707 Pure Waterway, Zephyr Hills, Florida. On average, Florida springs have lost between 30 to 50% of their historical flow. Why? We know why. Zephyr Hills is pumping out a bunch for their bottling plant of our water. Who's approving this? It's not me, it's you. I'm wondering why that in the few years that I've lived here, which is close to 20, I have seen dramatic change in the smell of the water, in the way the water interacts with anything I add to it. Why? Because people have approved things that are affecting us every day. I went to the Itchy Nitchy Springs to go tubing with my daughter from Michigan. It was down over 6 feet. 6 feet. 30 to 60,000 gallons a day are not going back into our aquifer. Why? Because it was voted in. Nobody has any agenda, but we'll build a new house, we'll put in a lagoon, and that's okay. We don't care, right? We don't care that my child and their children are not going to have fresh water. But we will build another housing development and tear down the old housing, change that agricultural land into a housing development that people come in and buy up and rent at outrageous costs. Our senior citizens are being taken out of the area because conglomerates are coming down and buying the land and upping their rent so they can take over that land. They have the long game. Do you have the long game? We need that long game to survive in Florida. You're having everybody move here because we don't have a state tax. We have beautiful land. We have affordable, which is outpricing all of us who live here now on a fixed income. You are the ones who have to decide if that's worth saving.
Please don't clap. Next. Please don't clap.
Name and address for the record.
Good afternoon. My name is Angele Fletcher Kamanzuli, and my address is 12350 US Highway 41. And I'll make this very brief. My family has a farm close to the corner of 41 and 52. And we are in talks about possibly selling it. That being said, I did have a realtor broker recently approach me very aggressively, almost demanding that I do more than consider selling his outfit, our farm, for the explicit use of an AI data center. Why? Because he said it was perfect location because of Moffett, because of the airport that's close to us, because of the other infrastructures that are being developed in our immediate area, and that an AI data center would be a pivot point for the uses of those infrastructures. The demand is going to be there, and it would be the right thing for me to do as a citizen and a landowner to consider allowing our farm to be used to that point. To which I met his aggressive yes with an extremely emphatic no. So I am very, very happy to hear that we are now looking at having at least a one-year moratorium. As a landowner and as a Pasco County citizen, I would very much appreciate a consideration of 3 to 5 year moratorium for this, because if I, as a single entity, my uncle and I, are being that aggressively approached and pressured by local realtor brokers and developers for our land, because it's 100 acres combined, contiguous land to be used to this point, I don't think that we're safe with a mere 1 year moratorium. So I would appreciate a consideration of much longer than that, even despite the fact that this is this is y'all's year. Potential turnover, potential new Board of Commission. I think that should be something that is taken into stronger consideration than just 1 year. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Mariana, I just want to make sure everyone knows by law, 1 year is our limit.
The Supreme Court has set a reasonable time period. 1 year is what they have previously said. If there are reasons to go beyond that year, we've always advised the commission that they can go in incremental steps beyond that year. Usually it's another 6 months to finish up regulations, but no, a 3 to 5 year moratorium is not legal under federal law.
So after this year, as it comes to the end, if we think we need more time, we can look to extend.
Thank you, Houston. One other thing that I did forget to mention, other areas that have these data centers that has already been established that they are seeing in certain animals effects of what is called the Havana syndrome. I don't know if that is a topic that has been discussed yet, or if that's what you're going to be taking the year to talk about. But I do want to go on record saying that is already an established problem in other areas where the AI data centers are. It's affecting the livestock. I have a farm, so I literally have cows and pigs.
We did talk about wildlife, et cetera, but if you want to submit that in an email,
sure,
would be fine.
I would be happy to do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, that's all who's signed up in person. There is someone online, but if you want to take anyone
Okay.
else.
Anyone else in the audience would like to speak about the data centers? Okay, we'll close it inside, online.
You got hands.
Oh, okay.
You can give your name and address before you start.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm trying to make sure, because I'm a bit quiet, sorry. Emerson Martin, 9330 Creedmoor Lane, Newport Richey, Florida. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Today you will make a decision, and I trust in your intelligence to make the right one. Thus, we'll commence the next 12 months of you reviewing research. Last time I spoke to you all, I gave you some information on the personal accounts of those that live near data centers. Now, I would like to give you a head start with some peer-reviewed information from Health Implications of the Rapid Rise of Data Centers in Virginia, an Exploratory Assessment by Neha Gore, Louis Ortiz, and Dr. Edward Maybach of George Mason University. They first explain that gas and particle pollution from these centers can be linked to respiratory and cardiovascular diseases, various cancers, neurological disorders, and conditions such as stroke, dementia, diabetes, and childhood asthma. They also call attention to the likelihood of power outages being especially dangerous during times of severe weather like heat waves. The dangers of heat are all too familiar to us here in Pasco. They then cite for water, a medium-sized data center, 15 megawatts, consumes as much water as 3 hospitals. This water is then polluted, which leads to contamination in groundwater supplies. These increase the risks of water scarcity, waterborne diseases, and poor maternal health and infant outcomes. And yes, noise pollution is a real thing. The health impacts of noise pollution include long-term risks such as heart disease, permanent hearing loss, tinnitus, chronic effects such as hypertension, and endocrine disruption. They also lead to psychological issues such as increased stress-related disorders and agitation, as well as impact the cognitive development of children. My main concern is these centers for generative AI, because that is what they are being built for, and surveillance. We have Facebook and email for years before the AI that we know today. I think that anyone will tell you that this AI has been around for as long as we can remember is forgetting that part. You are going to hear many people say that generative AI is inevitable, but it is not. We are all participants in this ecosystem, and we all have choices to make in it. We all have power, and you have much more power than we do, and we entrust this power in you. I understand that you cannot outright ban data centers due to state laws, but you can certainly heavily regulate them, even to an extent that would make their existence nearly impossible. I hope that at the end of these 12 months, if you still decide to not regulate, that you really do sit with yourself and consider who does and who does not deserve to live a happy and healthy life. Some people say, not in my backyard. Well then, in whose? Which people do we sacrifice for the health? Which people do we sacrifice the health for of the sake of the ugliest of graphic designs, brain rot, surveillance, misinformation, and millions of dollars lining the pockets of those who will never have to decide between their utility bills and having to get that cough checked out? All right, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. And if you would like to send that by email, whatever, we can put that in the record too for you. Thank you. Anyone else in the audience would like to speak? Anyone else, please come forward, line up behind each other. So these two would be the last for public comment, then we'll go to the one online. Okay?
Hi. My legal name is Gabriel Quigley, but I prefer Marion. But I'm just going to go, and I'm going to say...
Can you give your address for the record?
Yeah, can I add that to the record? M-A-R-I-A-N.
No, address for the record.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
17595 James Road, Dade City.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So this is an election year, and I'm not here to threaten y'all's jobs. I think you guys have been more than amicable with providing a one-year moratorium, and you even said this is going to pass. You seem very confident that this is going to pass. But I would like to say that you guys need to be thinking about the long game here, because once y'all's time is up, if you decide to keep running for elected office, there will still be a community that lives here. And we need to decide if that community is going to belong to Flock, hyper-surveillance systems, Meta, Amazon, Tesla, data centers, or the people that live here, the farmers and the ranchers and the kids who go to school and the parents who want good lives for their children. Retailers, land brokers, and developers in this state are out of control. They are out of control. They are in a race to the bottom to divvy up as much land in Florida as possible, and if nothing changes, by the year 2070, 70% of this state will be paved over. And at that point, who is going to want to live here? We are just going to be red California. That's all. Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Brittany Box. I live at 8434 Trinity, Florida. I just moved there recently from Tampa, and actually I discovered that I lived not very far from a data center when I lived in Tampa here recently, and I have breast cancer. I did not have any symptoms before I lived in that area. I just found out after I had lived there for about 4 or 5 months. And we did not have adequate water filtration at the apartment complex I lived at. So I believe that could be a contributing factor as to why I've developed breast cancer, because I do not have it in my history of my family. There's no one with breast cancer. Furthest back, probably great-grandma is the only one that had it. They tested my genetics. There was nothing in my genetics that showed that I should have gotten breast cancer. Anyways, I know that that is one of the side effects from the contamination from data centers, and I just wanted to put that on record. But also, I believe our rights are being violated by having these data centers in our communities, and with the advent of the flock cameras and the potential using these data centers to phase out regular workers in the tech industry. My boyfriend also is a computer engineer, which he is very fearful of the future when it comes to AI advancement. And I know I've seen a lot of interviews with, say, Elon Musk talking about how eventually we won't have to work and there's going to be AI implementation all over the place, and we're not, it's going to be like a hobby to work, and then we're going to get a basic income, possibly. That to me sounds very scary. It sounds a little bit like communism, and I think that is not a good step for our country. And also, I don't believe that giving up our liberty for a little bit of safety is a good thing. Just we really need to think before we allow AI to take over everything. And it's just a very scary time for my generation. We don't know what's going to happen, and we already can't afford anything. So if we are no longer able to work, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anything online?
We've got one guy standing up here. Don't know whether he's.
Are you going to speak, sir?
intending to speak.
Last one?
All right, is there anyone else behind this gentleman? Because we're going to close it off firm. Okay, this will be the last speaker until the one person online. Go ahead, sir. Name and address for the record.
Logan O'Leary, 12309 Eagle Chase Way. So I recently was informed about the July 7th workshop for the county. I'm sure you all remember. I came across a section, and forgive me if this is already on the agenda. I didn't have time to go through it all the way, but it relates to the current issue in the sense of AI. So I actually had questions. The planning and permitting plans for the AI and for building and permitting processes, I was just curious as to what that entails.
It's not a question and answer. You got 3 minutes to talk.
Okay. If anyone from
We're dealing with the data center issue right now.
I understand. Thank you.
Okay, so the individual who is online is Julia Bartunek. Julie, are you there?
Yes, hello, Julia Bartunek, Meadowood Drive. I'll keep this short, sweet, and simple. Wakulla and Jackson counties have established precedence for a total and permanent ban on data centers, and my hopes is through this moratorium that Pasco County can do the same, and that stakeholders and the public are allowed full sunshine within this moratorium process. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. That'll close public comment. It is to the board.
Move to approve?
Second. All in favor, roll call vote, sorry?
Oh, yes, thank you. It is a roll call vote. District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Yeager. Aye. District 5, Chairman Mariano.
Aye, passes unanimously. Thank you all. Please, no applause. All right, item P80, do we have proof?
P80. So you want 79 first?
We're going back to regular,
Sorry,
Chair.
P79.
All right, P79 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times, March 25th, 2026, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings.
Good afternoon, Amy Toll with Planning Development and Economic Growth. Item P79 is PDE 26-0033. It's an ordinance amending the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan, providing for a comprehensive plan text amendment to sub-area policy flu 7.1.34 Palmetto Ridge, excuse me, and providing for additional text amendments as necessary for internal consistency, providing for repealer, severability, and an effective date. This comes before you as a continuance request to August 11th at 1:30 p.m. in Dade City.
We have a motion.
Move to continue?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, P80.
All right, P80 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times, March 4th, 2026.
Item P80 is PDE 26-0446. It's an ordinance by the Pasco County Board of County Commissioners amending the Pasco County Land Development Code, amending Section 530.5 parking or storage of recreational vehicles, renaming Section 530.5 parking or storage of recreational land vehicles and recreational watercraft, amending Section 1001 docks and seawalls, Section 1001.4 visibility, Appendix A definitions, and any other sections as necessary for internal consistency, providing for applicability, repealer, providing for severability, inclusion into the Land Development Code, and an effective date. This comes before you as a continuance request to a date uncertain.
The motion.
Move approval.
Move to continue.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Item P81.
P81 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times, July 1st, 2026.
There's somebody here from Parks.
No staff.
This is a,
Where's Kathy?
this is an amendment to the Parks MSTU. The ordinance is being amended to add language which would allow it to be imposed in the incorporated areas of Pasco County. I'll wait for the fire engine to go by. And so
Jeff,
we're adding it to section 2 of the ordinance. The language, and within incorporated areas subject to the consent of the appropriate municipality, which is consistent with chapter 125, when a MSTU is optionally being created for cities to participate. Mr. Cabral, did you have anything further?
No, you hit the nail on the head. This is just enabling language in the ordinance to allow cities to participate. We would still work with them next year. Right now, the current consensus of the board appears to be to set a 0 millage. We'll discuss that at trim, of course, but we'll continue to work with the cities. Many of the cities that were considering it backed out right now just due to the referendum in November, and we're wanting to be cautious on how their upper limits of millage looked. So I think adding it is perfectly acceptable at this point in time. It's something we had planned to do. It's just something, it'll be one less thing that we have to do next year.
Okay. Does anyone from the board have questions?
No.
Anyone from the audience here to speak to item P81?
No
Come
one
forward.
signed up.
No,
And there's no one online?
And no one online either.
Okay. So one person come forward.
Christy Zimmer on record. If I understand this correct, you're creating an MSTU for the Parks and Recreation to be able to have the money that they need to operate on a regular basis instead of through the taxes that's going to possibly be eliminated by the bill in November?
No.
No.
All right, the MSTU is already created. This would be affected by the state amendment as well. It's ad valorem taxes. The only thing this amendment is doing is it allows it to be collected within the cities if they opt in.
Okay, thank you.
Move to approve?
Anyone else for public comment? Closed public comment. We have a motion. We have a second.
It's a roll call vote.
Roll call.
District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Yeager. Aye. District 5, Chairman Mariano.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Item P82, do we have proof?
P82 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times, April 1st, 2026, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings.
Good afternoon, Amy Toll, Planning Development and Economic Growth. Item P82 is PDE 26-0356. It's an ordinance amending the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan, providing for a comprehensive plan amendment, text amendment to Goal Flu 6, Pasadena Hills, to amend tables PH2 VOPH residential conversion chart and PH3 VOPH residential conversion chart, and a text amendment to Goal Flu 6 land use classifications, village mixed use 2, and providing for additional text amendments as necessary for internal consistency, providing for repeal or severability and an effective date. This comes before you, but with a recommendation to adopt the proposed amendment by roll call vote, and we have staff here for a presentation if so desired.
All right. Do we want a presentation? Okay.
Well, did you say VOPH?
Yes,
No.
ma'am.
What's this got to do with VOPH?
It's a text amendment to Village 2.
Oh, I guess I'm on the wrong one.
82.
Oh, yeah, I was on 83.
Okay. Anyone here from the public to speak to item P82?
There is no one signed up.
No one online, no one here?
Second. It is a roll
Roll
call
call.
vote. District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Yeager. Aye. District 5, Chairman Mariano.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Item P83.
P83 was advertised in Tampa Bay Times, April 1st, 2026, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings.
Item P83 is PDE 26-0410, or 0414, excuse me, an ordinance amending the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan, providing for a comprehensive plan amendment to the future land use map, map 2-15, and sheet 5 from Res 1, residential 1 dwelling unit per gross acre, Res 3, residential 3 dwelling units per gross acre, IL, industrial light, conservation lands, and OF office, to PD plan development on approximately 1,219 acres of real property located on the west side of US Highway 41, approximately 2.75 miles north of the intersection of State Road 52 and US 41, and a text amendment to Sub-Area Policy Flu 7.1.15, Mitchell US 41, and an amendment to the future land use map 2-9, amending Sub-Area map 2-915, Mitchell, and providing for additional text amendments as necessary for internal consistency, providing for repeal or severability and an effective date. This comes before you with a recommendation to adopt the proposed amendment by roll call vote.
Okay. Step on presentation
No.
to the board? No?
Move to approve.
I worked.
You
oh, that's
still have a
cool.
public hearing.
Spent a lot of time working with these guys.
Okay. Anyone here from the public?
There is no one signed up.
Somebody back here.
You got
Oh,
one
somebody
standing
is.
up.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, as the applicant's representative, I'll try to be very brief here. I know we have one objector. I'll just point this out for the record. This is Clark Hobby on behalf of the applicant, the Mitchell family entities, James and Dorothy Mitchell Limited, and West Bay Homes, which is a contract purchaser. To make this it's a confusing matter, this project originally was approved with a change to Res 3 and other comp plan
designations in about 2010 before we had market areas and stuff like that. And it was during the DRI era and during the era where DCA was mandating a lot of the controls of land use in the county.
Good old days.
And what happened was we had to get the comp plan amendment done in 2010. We had to adopt some what I believe are kind of screwy policies that required things such as saying that 65% of the units had to be multifamily. So we have basically a minimum of 934 multifamily units on this project now, and it's a big, beautiful ranch, and that's not the right use here. And so while on it, and I'd also point out that there are 890 acres of Res 3 already that, but for those crazy multifamily policies, would have already yielded 2,670 units. The comp plan amendment before you today seeks 2,100 as a companion to the MPUD, but there's a lot of other positive stuff that I'll discuss later in the hearing on the MPUD. But all we're doing is fixing the mess that Tallahassee created in 2010 on this plan amendment. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And do we have someone that wants to speak to item P83?
There's somebody back there.
Come
If
on
there's somebody,
up.
if you're going to speak, please come forward. No? Okay. All right. Okay, to the
Okay.
board.
Move approval.
Second.
Roll call.
All right, District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Yeager.
Aye.
District 5, Chairman Mariano.
Aye. Okay, item P85.
All right, P85 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times, June 24, 2026.
Item P85 is PDE 26-0817, an ordinance by the Pasco County Board of County Commissioners amending the Pasco County Code of Ordinances, amending Chapter 46 Fire Prevention and Protection, Article 4, open burning, Section 46-72 Definitions, amending Section 46-73 Prohibited Acts, and other sections as necessary for internal consistency, providing for applicability, repealer, providing for severability, inclusion into the Code of Ordinances, and an effective date. This comes before you with a recommendation to adopt by roll call vote, and there's a presentation available if so desired.
Chair.
Commissioner Waitman.
No, thank you, Amy. I just want to thank staff and the folks that reached out to us when, what led to this change were the lanterns, the sky lanterns that are lit during ceremonies and float across, and
Yeah.
they were landing in people's, on their houses, and
pool
pastures
cages.
and pool cages and what have you. So grateful for the work and the speediness of this. It's been a couple months, but it's, in light of the dry season that we've had, and this is done multiple times a year, I appreciate folks reaching out and staff working diligently to amend this ordinance to protect people's property and their homes. So thank you.
Thank you.
That,
Okay.
roll call vote.
We didn't get a motion.
Move approval.
All right, yeah.
Did you do
Second.
a public hearing?
Is there anyone here from the public like to speak to item P85?
She's raising her hand.
Come forward, please. And is there anyone else after this lady? Okay.
Cindy Buckle, 5938 Frontier Drive, Zephyr Hills, Florida. Talking about the flames and it brings me to all the pictures I see of the trees bulldozed down and huge flames coming from that. So what is the difference between those ashes? And there are no hydrants where these trees are. There's no water where these trees are, because I often go by these sites and I see it. So I'm confused about somebody burning something in their backyard and landing on a pool cage when I had huge fires going on when they pulled down those 27 trees at the beginning of my road on 54 Gateway. So I'm confused about that because there was ash all over our neighborhood. So what's the difference? So developers can burn without fire being there to protect them and without water being there because it's a site that they just bulldozed all the trees down. So that's my concern. I don't understand the difference because I live on property where I can burn and I have a hose. I am a retired firefighter paramedic, so I know how to put fires out. And I'm really confused about the hoopla about this being such a big deal when developers can do it, just like they can pump water, but we're on water restrictions. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. All right, and no one else online?
No one else signed up.
All right, to the board?
Move approval.
Second.
Roll call vote?
All right. District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Yeager.
Aye.
District 5, Chairman Mariano.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Now we'll proceed to the public hearings. Will the county attorney please review the procedures for rezoning?
There are 2 rezoning agendas, regular and consent. Staff will present each application to the Board of County Commissioners. If staff or Planning Commission has recommended approval and there is no opposition, the application will be considered by the board without further presentation. If staff or Planning Commission has recommended denial, or if there is opposition to the application, the applicant will be given 5 minutes for presentation. The opposition will be given 3 minutes for each individual or 5 minutes for a group representative, and the applicant will be given 3 minutes for rebuttal. Any individual disagreeing with staff or Planning Commission recommendation or anyone wishing to object to any condition of the rezoning may at this time request that the petition be pulled from the consent agenda, in which case that application will be heard under the regular agenda later on during the meeting. Otherwise, all rezoning applications on the consent agenda will be approved by a single motion and vote. If you wish to speak to any petition, please give your name and address and whether or not you've been sworn for the record. These are quasi-judicial public hearings. The law is that in Florida that mere public support or opposition of an application is insufficient for this board to take action. Please limit your comments to those criteria found within the board's land development code for rezoning. Madam Clerk, would you like to swear in the public?
Yes, sir. If anyone is going to speak to the following items, will you please stand and raise your right hand? Okay. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God? All right, thank you.
Okay. We'll start with item P86 on the continuance. We approve.
Yes, P86 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times, March 25th, 2026, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings.
Item P86, PDE 26-7877 is a zoning amendment and substantial modification in the name of Palmetto Ridge MPUD, Palmetto Ridge Cattle Company LLC, EPG Palmetto Ridge Holding LLC. It's a rezoning request from an MPUD Master Plan Unit Development District to MPUD Master Plan Unit Development District to allow for the development of 2,800 residential dwelling units and 100,000 square feet of commercial uses with associated infrastructure on approximately 3,536 acres located in north central Pasco County on the north side of State Road 52, approximately 0.5 miles east of the intersection of State Road 52 and Aaron Cutoff. This comes before you with a recommendation to continue the item to August 11th at 1:30 p.m. in Dade City.
A motion?
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. P87?
P87 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times, May 27, 2026, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings.
Item P87 is PDE 26-7904. It's a zoning amendment in the name of Revilio Ranch MPUD, Clearwater Capital Partners USA LLC. It's a rezoning request from an AR Agricultural District to an MPUD Master Plan Unit Development District to allow for the development of 45,000 square feet of an assisted living facility, 5,000 square feet of office, and one single-family detached dwelling and associated infrastructure within the villages of Pasadena Hills in Village B on approximately 7.66 acres, located on the north side of Prospect Road, approximately 1/2 mile east of Curly Road. This comes before you with a recommendation to approve with conditions.
Is there anyone in the audience in opposition to item P87?
Sir, there is someone signed up.
No, someone signed up? Okay. I'm going to
Yes.
pull that from consent. Item P88.
Okay, so P88 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times, April 1st, 2026, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings.
Item P88 is PDE 25-0193. It's a development agreement in the name of Highland Homes Clayton Properties Group, Inc., to design, permit, and construct portion of Hidden Creek Boulevard in exchange for transportation development free credits in the villages of Pasadena Hills, located on Hidden Creek Boulevard, spanning from the intersection of Hidden Creek Boulevard and Island Boulevard to the northern terminus of Hidden Creek Boulevard. This comes before you with a recommendation to approve.
Is there anyone here to speak against item P88?
There was no one signed up.
No one online? We'll keep that on consent. Item P89.
P89 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times, May 27th, 2026, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings.
Item P89 is a conditional use request in the name of St. Joe Road LLC and BB Agritourism LLC. It's a conditional use permit to combine two previously approved conditional use permits, CU 12-07 and CU 19-01, into one unified conditional use permit for an amusement park in an AC agricultural district located in north central Pasco County, approximately 840 feet east of the intersection of St. Joe Road and Bellamy Brothers Boulevard, containing approximately 118 acres. This comes before you with a recommendation to approve with conditions.
So P89 is St. Joe Ranch LLC and BB Agritourism LLC. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to that?
And there is someone signed up.
All right, we'll pull that one from consent. Item P90.
P90 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times, May 27, 2026, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings.
Item P90 is PDE 26-
I'm going to assume there's going to be a...
There are two
I'll give
people
that, so
signed
we're going
up.
to sign up, we're just going to pull that.
They're companions.
All right, so pull P90.
91.
And that is the end of the consent agenda.
No, 91.
91 and
You got
92.
91,
Oh,
92.
okay.
It looks like we have two more at
Sorry,
least on this version.
sorry. All right, so P91.
Oh, me, sorry. P91. Tampa Bay, advertised in Tampa Bay Times, May 27, 2026. I apologize.
Thank you. P91 is PDE 26-0706. It's a development agreement in the name of Kenton Road Commercial Development Agreement, Kenton Road Commercial LLC. It's a development agreement for the Kenton Road Commercial MPUD to design, permit, and construct Kenton Road from Elam Road to Overpass Road as a two-lane road inclusive of intersection improvements in exchange for cash reimbursement within Connected City located in central Pasco County. This item comes before you with a recommendation to approve.
Okay. Anyone here to speak in opposition of P91?
I do have a question on this one.
Pull it.
Ask it right now.
Go ahead.
Since the Orange Belt Trail is coming right beside this, what kind of driveways and uses are happening? I'm trying to remember what this one was, that where we're protected. Or is it not right beside here? I don't know, on my map, I thought it was by Bellamy and,
This is way south. This is at Overpass. No, Orange
okay.
Belt doesn't go
All right.
anywhere near this.
then never,
All right, so we'll leave it on? Okay, we'll leave that on consent.
There's no one signed up.
I was thinking that was the Amazon building there.
Okay. All right, P92, do we have proof?
P92 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times, May 27, 2026, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings.
P92 is PDE 26-7927. It's a zoning amendment in the name of 52 and Bellamy Investment Group LLC, Bellamy Parcel Rezoning.
I did think I did ask for public
Oh, that's
comment, right?
Public comment? No, not on the one I.
All right, so let me start here saying, did anyone here speak, is anyone in opposition of P91? So I did ask that, she's the one who spoke up.
Okay.
All right, no, we did cover that. We're good.
Okay.
P92.
Yeah. Okay, so P92 is a change in zoning from an I-1 light industrial park district to a C2 general commercial district located in central Pasco County at the southeast corner of the intersection of State Road 52 and Bellamy Brothers Boulevard, containing approximately 1.51 acres. This one
This
comes
is the one.
before you with a recommendation to approve.
Okay.
Okay, I think this is the one I was on the wrong one. So I have that question on this.
Let's see if there's public opposition while
And
she
is there any
gets her
opposition to
report.
P92?
Because,
And I think you're right, in this area, there is,
yeah, because they already constructed Bellamy with a sidewalk on the left side, so the multi-use trail, there will be something on the east side. And where is that, where are we going from the west side of Bellamy, south of 52, to the east side of Bellamy before we cross 52?
it looks like it's way above it.
No,
If you look at the
you gotta
map.
cross that
No,
intersection.
Look at the map on the screen. Orange Bell Trail,
No, I
It's
wish
below
we could
it.
go along the bottom, but right now we can't. One day I think we will. But right now, we have to go up Bellamy. And all those high school kids are gonna have to cross 52 that are riding their bikes to school and scooters, cross 52, go down 52, and cross 52 again to get on Old Pasco Road. But for now, we're going up Bellamy and crossing. So how is that happening with this parcel?
so let's pull this item, and we'll come back to it. So staff can look at it while we wait for that.
So this is 92.
All right, can I have a motion for the rest of the consent agenda?
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so first one pulled is
P87.
P87.
Good afternoon, Gavin Goby, Planning Development and Economic Growth. I think we're, okay. So it's we're going to start with a zoning amendment, rezoning from AC agricultural to MPUD master plan unit development. And this is to develop 45,000 square feet or 64 beds of assisted living facility and the option for either 5,000 square feet of office or a single-family detached resident. And this is located on the north side of Prospect Road, approximately 1/2 mile east of Curly Road. So here's a location map within VOPH. You can see it's within Village B, located off of Prospect Road. Here's a site location map. Here's the current zoning map, which is AR. And then here's where it fits into the overall Village B master plan. You can see it's going to be this parcel at the very bottom right here. So this parcel was initially contemplated for residential development, but VOPH does allow for commercial to be put into other areas outside the village center that are more neighborhood scale or community centered. So here's the MPUD master plan. You can see that there's a small designation right here as number 2. This is where they can choose to either do that 5,000 square feet of office on the frontage or a single-family detached residence. And the developer has to choose either or option prior to them submitting site plans to us. They have to write verbally which option they're going to choose. We also, as staff, negotiated a 1/4 acre for park space for the residents. We are regulating this as commercial development. They're not required to provide open space, but since it was an assisted living facility, we wanted to make sure that these residents would have access to green space and
Yeah,
parks.
that's important.
Good idea.
So they are requesting a couple variations. First is from section 905.2 D5, site perimeter landscape buffering. We're going to have this everywhere as a type A. Again, this is in a residential area. It's going to be a residentially designed use. The assisted living facility, it's intended to look like single-family detached dwellings. We wanted to make sure that it was buffered from the other lower density residential, but we didn't want it to hinder the walkability in between parcels. Same thing, section 905.2D5, site perimeter landscape buffering and screening. This is to remove the internal landscape buffers if they choose to do the office development with the assisted living facility. Again, this is to promote walkability, make sure that we're not buffering uses that are compatible with one another. Section 901, 6D1, a continuation of existing street pattern and street access to adjoining property. They're not going to be providing a northern access point to the northern parcel because there's an existing wetland and lake. And then last, section 805.6, restrictions on post-development wetlands and upland buffers within residential lots and non-residential parcels. And this is to not convey common areas to a community development district or property owners group. This is going to be maintained under common ownership, so they're going to be the maintenance entity responsible for the wetlands and common areas and maintaining those. And this comes with a recommendation of approval from the Villages of Pasadena Hills Planning and Policy Committee and the Planning and Development and Economic Growth Department.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for staff? Mr. Waitman?
You a betting man? You can guess what question I'm about to ask.
Are we following the Village B plan?
Well, no, that was close. That was.
Live local.
So, but that was part of it. That was the second one. We have Live Local Act provisions in here.
Correct, that is true.
And so within the structure of Village B, just so we're on the record, this is in the spirit of fulfilling the structure of Village B, even with Village B being wonkied up the way that it is.
Correct, yes. This is an assisted living facility. The village allows for some commercial development to come outside the village center. Specifically for a use like this assisted living facility, you don't necessarily want that in a necessarily really intense urban environment. This is more on the periphery so people can walk to and from the multiple village centers that they're going to be having.
And there's height restrictions on this product.
There is a maximum height, yes, but I don't
And
know
that
the
is?
height off my head.
You don't know the maximum height?
Off the top of my head, no. I can do some research for you real quick.
So is it 2 stories, 3 stories? So to make sure we're not contradicting ourselves.
Yeah,
based
it's a maximum
upon-
height of 35 feet.
So that's the same, that'd be the height of a townhouse. So the neighboring properties would be, with the feathering out of the map, if you go back to the color coordinated map, that would be the single family, it's in the brown. Light brown?
Yellow.
So you go from yellow to,
Yeah, so this is where the maximum of 10 dwelling units per acre is up here.
yeah,
And then
52.
you're transitioning down here to 2 dwelling units per acre adjacent to it.
Will it butt up to the wetland as well?
So the yellow piece, so that flows into, so when it's transitioning down here, what's the next village to the east? You have a map?
So, let's see. So the portion that's in the.
Because this is the,
property
what, this is the transition zone? What's the formal?
Yeah, so the lighter yellow is going to be the 2 dwelling units per acre, and then you can kind of see it a little bit better here. This is in the darker orangish color is going to be the maximum 5 dwelling units per acre.
Okay.
So it's a range of 0 to 5 for the oranger area, and then a range of 0 to 2 for the yellow area.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, time for public comment. We had one person.
Yeah, Michaela Kraus.
Kayla Kraus, 35920 Praise Place, Unit 102, Zephyr Hills, Florida, 33541. I have sworn. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I am here today to strongly urge this board to pull this item from the consent agenda and deny the rezoning request for the Rivero Ranch MPUD. This applicant is requesting a shift from AR to an intensive MPUD to shoehorn a 45,000 square foot assisted living facility and a 5,000 square feet of office space into a mere 7.66 acres along the north side of Prospect Road. This massive institutional and commercial footprint is deeply inconsistent with the core vision of the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan. This Firstly, is intensely, fundamentally, it just violates Chapter 2, Objective FLU 2.1, which explicitly mandates the preservation of rural lifestyles and characters. Inserting this into the 7 small acre parcel just completely dismantles the progressive low-density transitional buffering that is supposed to protect East Pasco's heritage. Second, dropping a massive institutional structure and its necessary parking infrastructure on this parcel runs entirely counter to policy FLU 2.1.5, the protection of existing topography. This policy strictly dictates that we limit topographic alterations to maintain and protect the natural rolling vistas and scenic watershed viewsheds of our landscape. You cannot construct a facility on this scale on 7.66 acres without severely altering the natural contours, grading away our native elevations, and destroying the viewshed this board legally is bound to protect. Furthermore, the local protection of our scenic vistas is backed by state intent. Under Florida State Statute, Section 335.093 and Florida Administrative Code, Rule 14-15.016, the state explicitly establishes frameworks to preserve and maintain these natural, beautiful, scenic roadways. Commissioners, your highest duty is to protect the integrity of your own master plan. Please deny the Rivero Ranch MPUD rezoning request. Thank you.
Thank you.
No clap.
Yes. Now, I didn't have the applicant come up. Would the applicant like to address?
Make sure there's nobody else, it's just that we make.
All right, so let me just,
He hasn't addressed
if I could though, before you go. Is anyone else here from public comment for this item? All right, there we go. Okay. Please come forward. And is there anyone else online?
There is no one signed up.
Okay. Thank you.
Ava Larkin, 37814 Howard Avenue, Dade City, Florida, 33525. I want to reiterate what actually she just said. We need to make it a priority that just because the Pasadena Hills Planning Committee has approved this does not necessarily mean that we need to approve it as county commissioners. As we know, a lot of our Pasadena Hills Planning Committee is comprised of people that have vested interests in these lands and have also had vested stakes in it. That being said, it is not consistent with the FLU and also with our with the master plan of this area in general. You guys, I just want you to think about what it is that you are voting on today. This is not just one unit. This is going to lead to creating a place where the bounding lands are going to be able to capitalize off of any kind of changes in the zoning that this one property is going to have. Please keep in mind that every single thing that you vote on today is going to have a it's going to have a domino effect on any other surrounding properties in the areas in general. So when you open the door to this one, you're opening the door to future zoning changes and possibilities for future zoning changes to the lands that are surrounding it. Not to mention just the general landscape of our community, which we definitely pride ourselves on having. So always remember, we're thinking of our community first, our community first. That's the most important thing we should be thinking about, is our community first. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll close public comment to the applicant. A little bit out of order, sorry about that.
Can you give your name and address for the record?
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Margaret Perez with Landis Evans and Partners. On behalf of the applicant, my address is 3810 Northdale Boulevard, Tampa, Florida. Thank you. And I have been sworn.
Can I ask our staff a question real quick?
Sure.
So, looking on the map here, I see a parcel to the east of this one that's a lighter brown, and then there's a school site. Do we know what's going on between here and the school yet, that parcel that's there?
I hate to do this to you, Gina. Can you put the map back up?
Oh, it says St.
All
Louis
right,
Commons on here.
Let's come back to it, let's let the applicant come up, don't come back.
Don't stop her. I'm just
Took too long to get
asking
here.
a question in the space while they were loading her thing up.
This will give Kevin time to look it up. So I think staff does a great job in their memo addressing the technical details of the MPUD. So today I would like to share with you the planning considerations that will allow you to better understand who we are and the vision we are seeking to accomplish. Those considerations are the nature of Revilla Ranch,
It ain't easy.
our community character, our community benefits, and comprehensive plan consistency. Revilla Ranch is located along Prospect Road within Village B of the Village of Pasadena Hills. The site sits just east of the connected city area, and as illustrated, almost all of our neighbors within Village B have already received their entitlements. The applicant, operating as Silver Elite, intends to create Revilla Ranch, a community of boutique, luxury, residential, assisted living homes that seamlessly blend into the residential neighborhoods planned for the surrounding area. Silver Elite is a high-quality, family-owned, and operated assisted living provider who has reimagined what senior living will look and feel like. There is also an option for inclusion of a single-family home or a modest office within Revilla Ranch. With only 16 residents per house, our caregiver-resident ratio is unparalleled in the industry at 1:5, rather than a standard of 1:20. Our philosophy is centered around family and promoting independence with a strong focus on vibrant social events, enriching wellness programs, creative expression, and beautifully designed outdoor spaces to enhance the lifestyle of our residents. Our residents also have a nutritionist and a private chef. Next, I'd like to share with you the characteristics of our community. First, our homes have been specifically designed by our architects to mimic modern homes. These are only one-story, 35-foot maximum, which is the building height that you'd see in a single-family zoning district. Second, every detail has been considered, even down to our backyard patios and eyebrow driveways, which maintain the residential character and foster a neighborhood feel. Third, we ensure our residents will feel like they're on the ranch by designing our communities to optimize open space. Fourth, as a special addition to our community, we have incorporated a garden for our residents, which is the heart of our community. We have included the garden as a condition of approval. Fifth, our thoughtfully designed walkways promote a walkable lifestyle. Sixth, we have designed our community to optimize scenic views of the neighboring wetlands And finally, in keeping with the VOPH policies, we have avoided cul-de-sac design and embraced a grid-like layout to provide interconnectivity to our neighbors. You can see our concept plan here on the screen. Here are some photographs from our partners in Texas. This community opened last year. Shown here is our front door and exterior facades of our homes. Next, here are some interior photos. Shown here is the living room and dining area. These photos illustrate our library and kitchen. As you can see, these are high-quality homes with extreme attention to detail.
I love it.
Recently,
I'd live there. It just needs trees. Needs some shade.
So recently, we've been collaborating with our architect to refine the facades and achieve a more modern aesthetic. I've included the renderings here to give you a look at the latest design concepts. This is facade 1. Here is facade 2.
Nice.
Finally, these are the rear courtyard areas. Next, I will move on to the community benefits, and I'll briefly touch upon the comprehensive plan consistency.
Can I stop you just for a second?
Yes.
I don't know what the board thinks, but again, we got a bit on the agenda. This looks like a very less intensive product than anything I've seen that could actually go in that area. I just spent about 10 days in a assisted living facility with my dad. The quality of what this is here is just like super high level, and for intensity, I can't think of anything less intensive that would probably fit in that area.
Well, Chair, I'm torn between on what's supposed to be at this stage in this village and what this is. Would you bind this plan?
We'd be happy to do so.
If you look at back to the concepts that Gavin showed on the design of VOPH, this doesn't really fit it, in my opinion.
All right, so let me let
She
you
can
continue.
finish,
Let me
but-
let me let you continue, then we'll go more discussion.
I'm not
Sorry.
saying that this is bad. Like, what I'm saying is it the right product for this location within VOPH? That's what I'm getting at.
Okay, I just didn't know if there was going to be objection. If it wasn't, I was going to go on because it was on consent. So go ahead and finish your presentation.
Oh,
Sorry.
because I have a question on that.
We'll get to that out, but let her finish. Sorry.
Thank you. I'll be happy to touch upon your point, Commissioner Waitman. So Revilla Ranch will provide a benefit to the community, and as Pasco County enters the democratic shift often referred to as the silver tsunami, it faces a significant shortage of assisted living and memory care options. This gap in available options is projected to grow substantially over the next 5 years. The figures shown here highlight an urgent need for new developments to keep up with the unmet and growing demand for senior care in the region. There's a 700-bed shortage in Pasco County and a projected 1,800-bed shortage over the next 5 years. With our community product, Pasco County residents will have to travel, without our community product, Pasco County residents will have to travel greater distances to be with their family members. As this area continues to grow in population, families want to be near their loved ones who are transitioning to assisted living. Revilla Ranch will be situated central to connected cities and Village of Pasadena Hills, making it easier to keep families together. Here I have listed the comprehensive plan policies that we're consistent with. After I'm finished speaking, if it's okay with the board, I will call my expert land planner, Bruce Landis, to detail those for you. So just to summarize, we have recommendation of approval from the VOPH Planning Commission, and staff has found this request to be consistent. Commissioner Waitman, to your point about the location, I just want to go back here for you. Going in the wrong direction. Thank you. This product does not belong at the corner of Curly Road and State Road 52. The character of our community is residential in nature, and we want to be plugged into the residential neighborhoods. People are driving their golf carts, they're walking in these areas. We want them to be able to walk from their home to go see grandma. It's a high-end product. It just doesn't belong at a commercial intersection. And the policies in VOPH allow for non-residential uses to be outside of the Village B centers. So if you don't have any questions for me, I could call Bruce Landis up.
Commissioner Starkey.
I am very confused by the map that's in my agenda packet. Maybe I'm just a confused person and where this is, because when I'm looking online at the map here, it has a circle on St. Leo Commons. That's what's under this number. So am I looking at the wrong thing? And there's the school parcel. I don't know.
Are you on Prospect Road on that?
Where,
This abuts Prospect Road.
well, what is this map?
I think you're top left of the picture that they had on the screen.
Can you put up the map from the packet and just show me where it is on the,
It's down here.
I know, so why is
No,
this
no,
map
no, no.
here in our packet?
Scroll up, it's down here.
Keep scrolling. Right there.
Oh.
See it?
Yeah, I might have been zoomed in too far. Okay, so at the bottom of
At the bottom, yeah.
Village, near Village F, not near the school district. The school. Okay, on this map, can you show me where, that's nowhere near it. I don't think.
And look to where Curly Road is.
Okay, so is it to the one, which one is it? Which parcel is it?
Move the arrow to the right.
Where it says Prospect Road on,
Yeah,
underneath
just
it?
to the right of the Prospect Road, exactly.
Right here?
Yeah, that one.
Okay, right there. And what's coming to the left of that? Do we know yet, or not yet?
Yeah. To the left of that is going to be a single-family detached community. It's going to be 50-foot wide lots, and I think there's about 200.
And across the street?
Across the street, I think it's just an existing residence at this time, but it is within another village.
It's a toughie. You know, I love the project, but those people aren't going to be able to walk to anything. But someone who lives nearby.
Assisted living, they gotta pretty much stay in there. I mean, people may go to them, but a
No,
lot of
it
those
depen-
people
well, it
stay around on
depends.
premises.
Is it assisted living or active living?
It's assisted living with
Memory care kind of stuff?
Yes.
I mean, some of the people go in, they don't come back out.
It's gonna be ambulances, fire trucks.
No, I have
zipping
family
through
living in those, so.
Residential.
But I also have one that's moving into an active living that transitions to assisted in Dunedin, and she's picking that because she can walk to all the shops and restaurants. She doesn't have to drive as she gets older, so she can walk to places for entertainment.
But this isn't that.
This isn't that. But I love this project.
It's not the
Beautiful.
project, it's the location.
You get a lot of these that sometimes they'll have their own bus, where they load them up and they'll
Yeah.
take them to the shop and to the
Yeah.
activities, to the movie theater, et cetera. But, I mean, to me, if you want to get something less intense and you go right to the side of Marauders right there, it's pretty crowded and packed. This is less dense than most things you're going to be able to put in here.
Well, in the VOPH plan, Chair, Gavin, what's in the VOPH plan, this allows for feathered out single fam, or this is what you're
They
saying?
approved it, didn't
Yeah, so it allows for residential development at a maximum of 2 dwelling units per acre. And I will say, it is not that intensive a use. It was found exempt from the timing and phasing because it was so low of a trip generator. And if we would have had 15 single-family detached homes here, they would have had a higher trip generation rate.
I mean, some of the people in there are not, I mean, most of them probably aren't going to have cars. I mean, it's not, if you want to cut down trips, this is the ideal one for it. And the more trips we can frankly cut down, I think the better.
Yeah?
And it looks like a nice, top-quality project, and I hope you come to the west side. Love to have you over there. We get demand over there, too. But this looks fantastic to me. And it butts up to the wetland, too. And they got a big wet area in the back there, quarter-acre park. All right, let me let the applicant finish.
So with that, I'll call up Bruce Landis, my expert land planner, to speak to the comprehensive plan consistency, and after he's finished, I'll just say a few more words unless you have any additional questions for our team.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I sure would like to see this kind of project all over the county, personally. Got to find more places for these.
Commissioners, good afternoon. For the record, my name is Bruce Landis with Landis Evans and Partners, 3810 Northdale Boulevard, Tampa, and I have been sworn. I just wanted to briefly highlight the consistency with at least 4 of the comprehensive plan policy amendments. 6.1.1, for example, we are consistent with providing a variety of land uses and lifestyles to support residents of diverse ages, incomes, family sizes, including housing. We are consistent, excuse me, with policy number 6.3.2. The county shall require new urban, residential, non-residential development within Pasco or Pasadena Hills study area to be developed with connected roadway network and creates a grid of existing and new streets that provide local connectivity. And so the site plan that will be bound to provides that connectivity. We're consistent with policy 6.5.1. Through the adoption of Pasco Pasadena Hills Area Plan has established a development policy framework that enhances the livability of the county and preserves its natural, cultural, physical, and other resources by creating planning and development policies and future land categories to address development issues. The new development patterns shall be formed around neighborhoods which are integrated with commercial, office, and civic uses. And finally, we're consistent with policy 6.5.3, subsection C. Village centers shall be designed with sufficient non-residential uses to provide for the daily and weekly needs of residential residents. Thank you.
Well, I have one more question.
Go ahead.
Are we preparing for any kind of multi-use path in front of, because we messed up on Prospect, so we have to come back in and put it in?
So Prospect Road is going to be constructed by Mike Galvin and his group. He has obligations through the escrow agreement to construct Prospect from connecting Murata all the way across.
Okay.
And it will have 8-foot multi-purpose pass on each side.
Well, I think I'm going to be for the project. I think it's a really nice project.
So to be sure, so there will be a path in the front of this project?
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
I was, just for clarity.
Commissioner Waitman.
Thank you, Chair. I was apprehensive with Villages on the Green right around the corner, and it wonkied up the village, and it turned out to be that if I could redo that vote today, I would. I've admitted that multiple times. And I've got the same suspicion here. And I'm not going to feel the same way I did on the vote of the Villages of Pasadena, or the Villages on the Green in this village. So
Can you tell me what happened to Villages?
so with the Villages on the Green, it's right around the corner. It messed up the formula, and it was it was used as an old orange grove, and the stormwater pond was going to be used as a passive play park, and we took single fam, which is what this is, where it feathered out. When you came south of 52 and you come in south of Curly on the east side, and we bound that project. That project is seemingly not coming to fruition, and it screwed up the whole dynamic of this village. Partnered with DOT and how it configured its stormwater ponds on the intersection. So the gateway into VOPH it's had a rough start, in my opinion. And with it pushing the density to the further south with Villages on the Green, which we bound, and my understanding is it's not going to come to fruition, where that should have been feathered into starting the less density portion of the village. And if that continues true, based on the formula and the design of the VOPH map coming south and then coming east down Curly, This project is like another unicorn again, just like Villages on the Green was, in my opinion, based on the formula and the map of the planning of the last 20 years of VOPH. And so it's not this use in this product in this type. I think it's great. I'm just not completely sold that it's in the spirit. And I understand the density and the traffic and the uses, all of that. I'm just not convinced that you're going to have 2 dwelling units per acre and then this and then go on to the next. It's just kind of random when you look at planning and policies and walkability. I mean, you're going to have 2 dwelling units per acre and you're going to have fire trucks and ambulances coming however many times based on the nature of it in the middle of a residential neighborhood with people calling to get help. I just am not sold that that's the right location within the concept of this village based on the level of density and what's supposed to be there for this site.
So,
I mean, I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just, there you go, Gavin. Go ahead, Chair. Sorry, Chair.
No, you were supposed to be
Yeah.
sorry here.
So, based on the map,
So let me, if I could?
yeah, I'm
So
done.
I agree with you on that property down there. I didn't like that property from the get-go. And then if that is not coming to fruition, I wish you'd come back and let's go work out something better. And maybe we can get DOT to the table, because what they did to that, I mean, they did the same thing at Bellamy too.
Yeah.
Destroyed that entryway. That could have been a good use of something. But I'm happy to bring these guys back for that later. But as far as this goes, so in I think it's probably like 10, 12 days with my dad in the assisted living facility, I saw one Medfleet truck transporting someone. Even when I took my dad to see the doctor 3 times out of there, we just took him out and brought him where he had to go. So it wasn't a big thing. And I didn't see a single siren going while I was there. And seldom have I ever seen one coming out of there. And I drive that road all the time. You can ask David Allen, because I call him all the time when I see the panhandlers or right-of-way violators out there all the time. So I drive that road many, many times. I've yet to see one coming out of there. And I've lived there for 20 years. So I don't think that's going to be something that's going to be looked at. These people, they stay in there. Some of them, they get in there and they just don't come out. Others, like my dad, they go in there, they get therapy, et cetera, and they come
sad.
back out. And I can see where they got 2 buildings set up, which makes a lot of sense to me, because instead of integrating everybody who's in there that's not coming out, you can put the active people near where the clubhouse is and have them more active staying there, because it looks like a great place to be. And that might even tempt my own dad to, not living this far away, but this type of thing would be a product I would be very comfortable seeing him in from what I see here.
I mean, if this, so Chairman, so just theoretically, when we're talking about VOPH, this is on neighborhood edge residential. This product definition seemingly would be neighborhood core residential, which would fit better in the structure of VOPH where Villages on the Green is, which is closer to the main thoroughfare. And if something were to be needed, EMS or what have you, they could get there and get to the hospital or whatever quickly. You kind of see the direction I'm going, and I think I'm going to follow that direction and go with my gut on this one. I'm not comfortable with it, not after what's happened so far with Villages on the Green and what's around the corner. So it's the right use in the right spot within the village is my concern.
You realize Prospect is 4-lane right by that property. Prospect's being 4-lane.
Yes, but that doesn't,
Can you have Gavin come back?
when you look at the uses, don't.
I've never been at one of these.
I'm just conflicted on the use based on the village and the type and what we're doing here, because
I've never been around one of these facilities a lot, but I don't know about sirens and all that going on at one of these facilities when it's, like
My father-in-law and mother-in-law are in assisted living. My mother-in-law
Yeah.
sits past. I go there all the time. I've never been there when there was an ambulance there, ever. On Duck Slough. And it's big. two big buildings.
Well, it makes
Um,
sense.
And it's in a
Can you
residential
go over the
neighborhood?
map here so
Right
I
next
can
Yeah.
understand what's going on?
It's quieter for the facility itself, being in that neighborhood and that area. It's quieter for those people that are in there. Makes it
And you-
better for them.
And if I could before you go.
Yeah.
When you look at what's right to the other side of it, the intensity there, I mean, leads all the way down to overpass, connects to the highway, et cetera. But this is intense in the area, but again, this is as low as it gets. And if it's close to all these people in this area, it's gonna make it safer for them to go, and easier for them to go put their person in the assisted living facility and make them feel comfortable knowing they're so close. I mean, it's a great quality of life, and literally, I hope you come to the other side quickly.
Well,
I got spots for you.
Yeah, let's go.
Good afternoon, William Vermillion, Planning Development Economic Growth. I think I'd like to add a little bit of color to the VOPH plan overall as it relates to neighborhood commercial. So in terms of an assisted living facility, it's not something that's categorized as residential in terms of density. So when we talk about density compatibility, it's not really applicable to an assisted living facility. What staff liked about this particular use is that it looks like single-family detached in its form, but it's actually a commercial use. And in VOPH, commercial uses, specifically neighborhood scale commercial uses, are allowed within certain ranges to be located outside of the village center. So following that vein, staff felt that this specific commercial use needed to be located away from the busy road of State Road 52. This felt like an applicable area for it because the product type one blended into the development pattern that is currently going in because it looks like single-family detached, but it's not actually regulated by density like residential. It falls under the neighborhood scale commercial. And then number two, just for a point of correction, Prospect Road is a 2-lane road, not a 4-lane road in the Village of Pasadena Hills Master Roadway Plan.
Wait a minute.
A question on the office use?
They're designing
Commissioner Oakley?
Prospect and Handcart right now is being designed by Mike Galvin to build 4 lanes.
So-
A year from now, they're gonna start that. I know it's 2-lane right now, but it's supposed to turn into a 4-lane road.
I'll let staff look at that, Commissioner Starkey.
So they have an option for an office building?
Yes, ma'am.
Or office something. It wasn't shown on the drawings. What kind of office building?
Sure, the way that staff regulated it, since we didn't have an end user and it was most likely going to be the assisted living facility, which the applicant showed, what we did was specify the specific uses and then have the applicant come in for the site plan for that office and check the compatibility at that point, since the most likely use is going to be the ALF.
All right, but if it is an office, since we're allowing them to have an office, is it also 1 story like the rest of this facility is? Is it matching what the complex looks like?
I'm going to let the applicant, just because
She's coming up now.
Okay.
I can feel her behind me.
All right. Stalking.
So to answer your question, yes, the office is going to match the architecture and the character of the assisted living facility. It's all going to be developed by and operated by one person, which is Ryan, who's actually a Pasco County resident and lives nearby the property. But we were playing around with some of the graphics of what the office might look like, and we're actually going to have a garage too. So it looks just like a home. Let's see, I have a clicker here. Can we go backwards? Those are one of the renderings that we're putting together right now for what the office might look like.
Yep, so there's an interesting office building right in front of Fox Hollow.
I was gonna
right
say the same
smack
thing.
in the middle of Trinity, right before the golf course. And it's actually the international headquarters of a door manufacturer. It's their association headquarters, but it's an office. And it looks great. Look, they built it like a house, and it looks wonderful. All right, well, the staff's worked hard on this, and they know what we want out of VOPH. And so I'm gonna be going with staff's recommendation. I do wanna find out more of what's going on the corner, what you're talking about over there, but that's not what we're talking about here today. Of
All right,
the
just
other
one second.
village.
So was that a motion you just made? Or no?
Well, I will make that
All right,
motion.
hang on, let me go to Commissioner Waven first, guys.
So with your motion, so based on what we
You
learned
want
with
to get a
villages.
second, if that was.
Well, I'm going to ask her to
Okay.
modify her
Okay.
motion to consider.
Under discussion.
Now, we have a
So,
motion and a second now.
Based upon, so this board bound, because we were suspect of villages on the green.
I
We
love that
bound it
project.
in the architectural design standards and everything that's being shown, just like it's being shown here.
Yeah?
Great pictures, looking good. And we were unsure about it because it won't get up the core of that village, so we bound it. And
Well,
it
that's what I'm trying to
hasn't come to
understand.
fruition, so if, depending on what you're proving, they could show us all these fancy pictures like folks have done before, and it may not come out this way. So I'm just saying, I'm uneasy on this one,
Well,
clearly.
Are we binding this architecture here?
We'll ask
In this
the applicant.
Site
go ahead.
plan?
The applicant is happy to agree to binding the conceptual site plan that was submitted with the application, and if it pleases the board, we'll also agree to have, some sort of architectural standards that they'll be residential in character at all the buildings.
So what we're being
So-
shown today?
Yes.
so, Mr. Chairman, what I would suggest is adding to 33 of the conditions of approval, developer shall be bound by the elevations and concept plan that were made part of the record in this hearing.
Yeah.
Is that good for the motion maker?
Yes, I will, that's what I'm expecting.
I'm good with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll say aye, but prove me wrong.
Because the builder and the owner is here.
Okay. Motion passes 5-0.
But I do want to talk to staff about the other issues that he's talked about.
And I
another-
think it's a good idea, so we'll let Commissioner Waven drive that one. All right. Item P89 was pulled.
Mr. Chairman, so we don't forget it, there was an item PIFBA 26-0063. It was noticing a public hearing on the county's intent to acquire part of the system from FGUA. That item is being withdrawn from this agenda. It was advertised. It is not on your agenda. But in case there's anybody in the audience who is here for that item, it is being withdrawn by the administrator, and it will come back as a regular item, likely on August 11th.
Okay.
It's not
It's not
on your
on-
agenda, it was advertised for today.
Okay. So P89 was on consent, was pulled. We had a couple of people want to speak to it, so let me take the public comment first. So
So
P89,
P89, you have Nancy Hazelwood, who has signed up.
okay?
2 for P90, just.
Right.
Nancy Hazelwood, 34110 A Nice Place, Dade City, Florida. Did I just hear you all say that it's, withdrawn, or?
FGUA.
No,
No.
different item.
Nothing.
Different item.
Different item.
Not
Different
your
item.
item.
Okay, so this doesn't mean if it comes back or something, I can't talk, right? Okay, so there's a couple of things that's.
This is final approval of this item, so yes, this is your opportunity to speak.
Yes, sir. So the first thing I was wanting to know is they've got 118 acres, I believe, but yet they say that they're going to do a pumpkin patch and a small Christmas walk. I was wondering why that took 118 acres. That's one question. Number 2 is I am concerned about them staying open till 1 a.m. and they're asking for more alcohol, but maybe this part is too different because I'm concerned about kids from high school being left out till 1 a.m. and getting home at 2 a.m. I don't know, is that something we do now? We let our kids stay out to 2 a.m. if they're 17 years old, 18 years old, maybe 16? Because if they're keeping it open till 1 a.m., and then the kids are going home, I'm not sure how responsible that is. So that's another consideration. I believe that's on there. Am I mistaken? Mr. Steinstein? Am I mistaken in that? I do believe that's on there, that they want to change the times.
It is, but we don't get into that, right?
Okay.
Well, you know, if it's part of the conditions of approval, you can get into that, but,
I mean discussion.
but I'm not sure whether that's part of
On
the,
Friday and Saturday.
okay?
Anyways, that's my concern. I'm not sure that's real responsible, leaving something open till 1 a.m. and you've got kids in there that are still in high school. But maybe I'm wrong and things have changed. I'm just an old person now. Thank y'all.
Mr. Hobby.
Mr. Chairman, Clark Hobby, Hobby and Hobby PA, 109 North Brush Street, Tampa, Florida, have been sworn. To answer the questions, and just to remind everyone, we have the same hours of operation on these two sites. All we're doing is combining the two sites and allowing them to operate at the same time, so that if we have the Screamageddon event on the east side, we can have a pumpkin patch on the west side. Similarly, if we have the snow hill going on the west side, we can have a Christmas function on the other side. The only thing that changed is we added a little more time for people to get off of the site after we closed the gates. With regard to the alcohol, and I think she might have really been alluding to the next conditional use item, we have been open since 2012. And we've been selling alcohol for a number of years, and we've never had a drinking and driving issue. And the reason is the client has a very harsh drinking on site series of rules for liability purposes, and they maintain relationships with Uber and Lyft, so that if anyone is cited as being, drunk on site, they automatically pay for them to have a free ride home. They just call the person, they say, you're out of here, and here's your ride home.
Commissioner Starkey.
I think this is going to be a great addition to the community. And as I said in the meeting that I was with you guys, please have your applicant get that Harry Potter experience. And I don't think there's alcohol in butterbeer, but I don't know. I didn't know that. But that was an amazing experience. I went to that in Virginia with my daughter and my grandkids. And you're walking through the woods at night, and it's a Harry Potter village, and it was amazing. And I love that our communities maybe can be able to have something like that here.
I won't belabor things, but this is a real Pasco success story.
Yeah.
That we have 75 full-time equivalent employees out there, and there were over 7,000 hotel night stays last year for this
Just
project.
wait till they get Harry Potter or whatever it's called.
Okay.
No, and I say, I've been out there several times with the family, watching what he's done from tree hoppers on through, and it's always been a tremendous experience. What he's done is just elevate entertainment in Pasco County to the highest level, so I think he'll do a great job with it.
More?
Do you have public comment?
I had one public comment. They had no one else signed up.
Yes.
Anyone else want to do public comment to this item? No one signed up? I have a motion.
To approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous. Okay, next one, P90.
That one you have two people.
I had two people speak. Please come forward.
Yep, so Nancy Hazelwood, followed by Christy Zimmer for P90.
What number are we on? It's the alcohol.
90.
Yeah, this is the alcohol portion.
90?
Yeah.
I think basic, Nancy Hazelwood, 34110, a nice place. I pretty much have the same thing to say. This is in the Northeast Rural Area Plan. I did hear that they take good care of the alcohol. If anybody's watching, I talked to neighbors about it, and that's on. I just have problems with the 1 a.m. thing and letting kids on our street at that time. And if you read through it, it sounds like they're actually closing their gates at 1. So if they're closing them earlier, I could take that into consideration. I wonder what time that would be. Also, I wish y'all would quit making destinations in the Northeast Rural Area Plan that don't really fit. We're trying to be rural, save your natural resources in Pasco County, and make it more like a state park that has areas in it to walk through. And I love their tree toppers, where you go through the trees and everything. That fits in perfectly, but the rest of this stuff, and they told us they were making small pumpkin patches and a small Christmas walk. Well, still, 118 acres doesn't sound too small. Thank you.
Okay.
Christy Zimmer, address on record. 7,000 hotel rooms because of their facility. I want proof of that. I respectfully request that this conditional application be denied and continued until additional evidence is provided demonstrating compliance with the county's approval standards. This request is not simply a continuation of an existing approval. It represents a significant intensification of the current alcohol authorization by expanding from a 2 COP beer and wine permit, which is the alcohol they've been serving, to a full 4 COP liquor license, which is a lot different. It's a whole different concept of alcohol. Extending alcohol sales throughout a large 118-acre amusement and an entertainment complex, I don't believe this is an agritourism project. It sounds like a commercial tourism project. First, the applicant has not demonstrated compatibility with the rural and agricultural character of this area. The property is located within the northeast Pasco rural area and carries an agricultural future land use designation. While recreational uses may be permitted, the burden remains on the applicant to demonstrate the full liquor sales and late night operations are compatible with the surrounding agricultural and residential uses, which I don't think that it is. The staff report contains little analysis supporting that conclusion. Second, the applicant has not provided sufficient evidence addressing the public health, safety, and welfare impacts associated with the expanded alcohol consumption and type of alcohol and late night operations. The proposed hours would allow alcohol sales until 11 p.m. on weekends and alcohol sales until 1 a.m. on weekends. Rural roadways such as St. Joe Road and Bellamy Brothers Boulevard present unique safety concerns, and the record contains no alcohol-related public safety analysis. They say it, but there's no record of it. Third, environmental review appears incomplete. The staff reports acknowledges that detailed wildlife surveys and wetland delineation information are still required. Until those studies are complete and evaluated, the board does not possess all the information necessary to fully assess impacts associated with the intensified use of this property. Fourth, the transportation mitigation identified by the county staff has not yet been completed. The traffic review determined that a left turn lane is required on St. Joe Road, with completion anticipated by fall of '27. Approval of an intensified alcohol-related use before required transportation improvements are in place is premature and dangerous. Finally, the applicant already possesses an approved alcohol permit for beer and wine sales associated with the amusement park. The record does not demonstrate why the existing authorization is inadequate or why expanded liquor sales are necessary. The burden of proof rests on the applicant, and I do not believe the burden has been met. A mixture of alcohol and late night hours does not create a family-friendly environment. Nothing good happens after midnight. For these reasons, I respectfully request denial of the application, or at a minimum, a continuance until outstanding environmental, transportation, and compatibility issues have been fully addressed. Thank you.
All right, anyone want to hear from staff? Okay. I'm just asking staff one question. As far as like a turn lane, do you think it's needed from the intersection going out to Bellamy?
I have the transportation team coming up to discuss.
Good afternoon. Hamid Hakshanas with the Planning, Development, and Economic Growth. I think a timing and phasing study has been provided to us, and we reviewed that. Those type of turn lanes, their specifications will be more detailed provided at the time of site plan and with the access management analysis, but they do provide some information about if turn lanes are warranted or not.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Mr. Hobby.
Clark Hobby again, and we do have Mike Razor, our
our transportation planner here. I'll try to address a couple of these things. First of all, when it comes to the burden of proof, the staff report in and of itself is competent, substantial evidence to substantiate the approval of the application. So I don't need to provide any further evidence. All you heard from the objector was argument. There was no expertise offered. The difference between selling beer and wine and liquor does not generate any additional trips statistically, and for that reason, there's no differentiation in the ITE code. There's no difference with the type of facility. When it comes to selling beer and wine and selling alcohol in this area, I think most of you are probably aware that the Florida Cracker facility opened up in St. Joe, just down the road on St. Joe Road a few months ago. It sells all kinds of alcohol, including booze, liquor, I should say, and it's wildly successful. Even Disney and facilities like that now sell liquor, so the days of just beer and wine and not liquor are kind of gone. And for that reason, when you go into a Circle K, maybe I don't drink it, but there are a lot of the stuff that looks like beer now that actually has liquor in it. It's usually down at a lower percentage of alcohol by volume than if you were to go buy a Jack and Coke, but it's sold virtually everywhere now. So, and last thing I'd say, and I could give this to staff, but we have 10 letters of no objection for this application from almost all of our closest neighbors. So the neighbors are fine with it. Florida Crackers selling booze right down the road. People want to get a drink when they're out. I'm sorry, times have changed.
All right, to the board.
Move to approve?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous. And P92, we had a question about the Orange Belt Trail.
So we did find the answer, and Gina's pulling it up right now. So basically, finding of fact number 10 does describe this in detail, but the aerial map will also show you as well. So there is an existing 12-foot multi-use path on the north side of State Road 52 from Bellamy Brothers over to Curly Road. So that's going to be your east side. Along Bellamy Brothers, so at the intersection south, they are constructing a 10-foot wide multi-use paved path that is being done by the Amazon.
So I think that's built already, right? And it's on the west side.
West, correct.
Okay, so you've got to get from the west side to the east side.
So they're going from, it's going to go across the street to the north.
Which way across the street? Where are you crossing the street? On the east side or the west side of that intersection?
State Road 54 off.
So what I'm asking is, how do you get?
Across the street.
And I just looked at a map of the Orange Belt, and it goes north on Bellamy and cuts in through Clark's here, because that's his client. It cuts through that property that's on the east side there and goes under the underpass for right now, right?
Roads. Yep. And then roads. Yep. Thank you. So there is a sidewalk on the south side, multi-use path on the north side, and they would have to cross the street to access.
So just like physically walk me through that. There's no refuge in the middle of that highway.
Correct.
For a cyclist or a scooter or anyone. So how is someone going to safely cross that road? And is there a driveway? Are there driveways into whatever's coming here? Maybe a gas station? I don't know. Is it a drive-through business?
They were proposing a potential drive-through.
Okay, so I am very concerned.
Ice cream shop type.
I just need you to tell me, someone tell me, what's the engineering plan to cross the street safely?
They
That's
got
all
two
I'm
marked sidewalks there.
Yeah. I don't have the details if there's an island being constructed.
So will they cross Bellamy south of 52 and then go north on the east side of that intersection? Someone, as that site plan's coming in, someone's got to pay attention to how this corner, this intersection is safely
Yeah,
navigated.
it does look like they would have to cross.
Do you have any suggestions, Commissioner? I mean, if it's on the west side of Bellamy heading north, I would presume that it's easiest to cross
Well, there is
State
some
Road
kind of
52
a
on
way
the
to make
same
a
side.
refuge over there, maybe?
We can talk to FDOT. I know there's a widening project that's
And
coming
this
in
is
at that
very
point,
poorly thought out,
and
this
we can have those conversations, yeah.
It's got trails both sides.
You just can't get there safely.
No, but I'm
Cannot
saying,
cross the
but I'm saying,
intersection
but I'm saying your east-west is like connected, and actually even takes it on, in front of this, it goes actually close to the roadway.
So what are you pointing to? This is a sidewalk on the south side.
Right.
And that's that is the standard now state 52 bicycle path on the north side. But the orange belt, that is not part of the orange belt, that, from what I've seen. It goes up
Does it
and
cro-
over, until we get the orange belt trail.
To go over later on.
South.
Because, yeah, because this could actually go right down to where you want that overpass on 52.
Well, that's why that's there.
Yeah, so I mean,
But you have to cross the street.
right, you do. You
And
gotta
these
cross
are-
somewhere, it might be right there.
A lot of these are going to be kids. And so I just want to make sure we're creating a safe environment for
Safe
them in that.
environment to cross
So we
the
get-
two.
I don't know what kind of, I just want to make sure that whatever happens on this corner in the site plan approval, that they're taken into account however anyone's crossing the street. And until I see a plan of how that's happening, I have concerns. So if you could tell me we could fix it somewhere, or you're going to deal with it in the site plan approval, I don't know, do we get another chance after this, or are we done?
It's not on the same side as the applicant's property, is it?
Correct.
So this is, from what Ms. Tull just said, Amazon is building the 10-foot wide
Right.
trail on the west side, which means the crossing, in order to get to the other side, you either cross Bellamy and then 52, or you just cross 52 straight forward.
Okay,
But I'm
but-
hearing you, so I don't know if there's anything you can hold this applicant to in terms of safely crossing. It would
I
be between
need-
us and FDOT and our trail.
You need to see, someone needs to see if there's a landing place on the northwest
West
corner
corner, that's
of
correct.
52 and Bellamy for someone to cross the street there, because
I agree
I
with
don't
that.
think they took that into consideration.
So there is safety money with DOT. We got that grant a couple of years ago after going to NACO. So this could be added to that. And if they are going to redo that intersection, and that intersection does need to get redone anyway, because that needs turn lanes anyway, especially on the other side. So if they're looking at that right now, which I think they are, the safety stuff can be
Yeah, I
incorporated into
believe
it.
there is widening that's underway right now.
Yeah, both
to be-
sides
to be
probably need it,
west-
but
West of this intersection, so that needs to be incorporated. The message received.
Yeah, because the multi-use path on Bellamy is going to be on the east side going north, is what we've been told here. And so it's
No,
catty
you
corner.
just said it's on the
Yes.
west side. What trail?
No, on the west side, it's a sidewalk, north of 52. I tried to get y'all to stop that, but I
Crossing.
wasn't successful. So the multi-use path, according to these guys, is on the west side, east side of Bellamy, north of 52.
Oh, okay, my misunderstanding then. I thought you said the west side.
No, the multi-use path is on the west side of Bellamy, on the
South of 52.
on the southern edge.
Where, on the north side of 52, it's on the east side.
That's what she said.
So now you have to make two dangerous crossings. That's,
You have to cross, yes. You'll
you
have to cross Bellamy once and 52
and then cross,
once.
like Starkey,
Is exact.
That's
where
correct.
we just had a fatality.
there's going to be two crosses no matter what you do.
Correct. Correct.
It's a dangerous hobby. And if that's what you choose to do, that's what you choose to do is your hobby.
All right. Any further
It
questions?
wouldn't be this applicant's problem to solve.
That was my point, yeah.
All right.
It just depends on where their driveway is. It's,
I see what you're saying.
and,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, to the board.
Move approval.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
So we need to.
Okay, that takes care of the consent. We'll go to P93.
All right, so P93 was advertised in Tampa Bay Times April 1st, 2026, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings.
You're gonna be one of them. I'm done it. I'm not done.
Good afternoon, William Vermillion, Planning Development Economic Growth. Somebody appears to have put my clicker in their pocket when they left. Here we
I think
go.
we might have found out what that is.
I could have done it telepathically, but I didn't want to show off like that. This is the companion zoning amendment to the previously approved CPA on the ordinance section of the agenda. This is Mitchell 41 MPUD.
What number?
This is a rezoning from AC agricultural to MPUD master plan unit development for the total of 2,100 residential dwelling units, 880,000 square feet of light industrial, 99,000 square feet of office and associated infrastructure on roughly 1,219 acres. This is located in northwest Pasco County on the west side of US 41, just north of the intersection with 52. Here's the location map within the county. The current aerial, you can see Cruz Lake and US 41 there. The existing zoning reflecting agricultural. The current future land use map, it looks like a hodgepodge, but back in 2008, each individual wetland had a con flu placed over it, which is why you see all that dotted areas of con. You can see some IL and the old office flu. A context map of the subject site there in blue, you can see US 41 as well as the CSX Railroad, which runs through the area of what we called Pinellas County for the water. And then you can see the Starkey to Crossbar ecological corridor in yellow, as well as in red, the already acquired Elant property and Cruz Lake Park there in pink. So a couple different things to discuss on the master plan that are pretty good planning thought. The first being that 98% of the on-site wetlands are being preserved by the applicant there in green. It's actually 98.6%, just north of that. And even bigger than that, there's two areas specifically called out for tree preservation. Staff went out with the applicant, with natural resources, the county arborist, and looked at the on-site oak canopies that exist. And this was well before the county adopted the tree ordinance. And the applicant and staff were able to work together to come up with two different preservation areas, totaling roughly 47% of the on-site trees being preserved as a part of this application. You can see there in yellow, that's the largely residential area, and in red, the non-residential area. As we move forward into the MPUD connectivity plan, which gives us more detail than the master plan gave, the first things that are easy to point out as big wins for the project outside of the tree preservation areas, both in the northwest corner and central to that roundabout, is the trail that runs through the Starkey Crossbar. The first segment there is in blue, and the second segment in yellow, which takes you to the trailhead within the tree preservation area on that northwest portion, all the way to the center north of the property. The blue being the responsibility of the county to construct, and the orange being the responsibility of the developer. You can see also in blue there, the applicant is reserving a school site. And then there's also, additionally, there's multi-use paths throughout the project outside of that trail segment that runs through the Starkey Crossbar, both along roads A and C, which are the two access points to State Road 41, the southern of which is a 4-lane, the northern of which to serve the non-residential is a 2-lane, as it meanders through the property. Another good thing to point out here is, as the county and FDOT prepare for the 4-lane widening of 41, which is contemplated in the long-range transportation plan and the cost affordable plan, what staff did is work with the applicant to go ahead and acquire all the right-of-way necessary for the ultimate 220-foot 4-laning of 41 on the applicant side. Because if I was to go over here back to the master plan, if you look on the opposite side of 41, it's a bunch of tiny little single-family parcels, and it would have taken the county a long time to go through the eminent domain process to get all that right-of-way for 41. So what we've done here is be able to speed up the process with the help of the applicant to get the right-of-way dedication from the west side of the road in this case. On the connectivity plan, we do have the typical sections, which highlights the 10-foot multi-use paths that are going to be going on both sides of the road. Whenever this project came in, the board will remember the typical section for the county at that time was a 12-foot multi-use path, a 5-foot sidewalk, and a bike lane. And before that was adopted, the applicant worked with staff to go ahead and implement the two 10-foot multi-use paths on either side of the road and eliminate the bike lane to decrease some of the conflict that happens with pedestrians.
Is the applicant putting a 10-foot path in front of the property?
On 41, we have the right-of-way for the FDOT typical section. If the board remembers, when the Mosquito property came in, we had a conversation about the pedestrian facilities on US 41, and FDOT is currently redoing their designs because of the old PD&E, working with the county and the county engineer, that we have the right-of-way to accomplish a 10 or a 12-foot multi-use path, which the county's trying to get on both sides of the road.
Right, and I'm not worried about the other side of the road, but with all these homes coming in, we need at least their side of the road, I would think, done.
Absolutely, and that makes a lot of sense considering we're also doing a transit stop on the along 41 with this property that the multi-use path would make sense to work with. Yes, sir.
It would be interesting if we could get an equestrian path along one of the sides, because this area is a big equestrian area and going to grow into a bigger equestrian area.
Certainly, and I think the last thing to highlight as a part of the connectivity plan is the maintenance easement that's shown there on the bottom. There's two different access points for our Parks and Rec and Natural Resource folks to be able to get into what is going to be 180 acres of acquisition that the
Change the
county,
map?
let's see, let me back up here.
Yeah.
So essentially, that area in yellow outside of the subject site, it was a part of the original sub area. It was all under the same ownership, but what the county's doing with the Parks and Rec and purchasing, about 180 acres of purchasing that land where that trail's gonna go, and two access easements for the county to be able to get in there and maintain that, and a good use of the land with the passive trails going in for the public to use. This is just highlighting the land use equivalency matrix, showing the board that there's no non-residential conversions to residential, and that as a part of this, I think that Clark touched on this before, the original mandate of the sub-area policy was to have north of 900 multifamily apartments. As a part of this, this is capped at 600, so not only, it's a 300 plus dwelling unit reduction of what would have been required under the current 2008 approval, as well as capping the townhomes there at 500, but still giving the applicant the option to do fully single-family detached in this area at the 2100, as well as the industrial, office, and retail components that we saw in red. There are three different variations from the code, the first being 9016011, street access to adjoining property. Was to go back, the applicant cannot connect as we move to the west. That's a part of that ELAMP property that the county's acquiring, but they are providing connections to 41, to the south, and to the north of the subject site in compliance with the Land Development Code. The second variation being from 8056, restrictions on post-development wetlands and upland buffers. This is for parcels under single ownership, only for commercial or multifamily to maintain their own common areas instead of establishing a CDD or an HOA. And finally, from LDC Table 9013A, which is the amount of access points per ERU or estimated residential unit. Typically, the code requires 2 access points once you get north of 600 dwelling units. In this case, this variation is for the 4-laning of the southern access prior to be able to serve units up to 1,200 before constructing the additional road. So the same volume capacity is being preserved by constructing Road C up front as a 4-lane road, as 2 accesses would have been required by the code. Given that, the Planning Development Economic Growth and the county engineer are in support of the variation from Table 9013A. And this comes with a recommendation of approval from PDE and the Planning Commission with conditions, and I'm available for any questions.
Any questions?
Chair. So, under the existing, or staff, or Ms. Hobby, so this project today, we're reducing the multifamily by how many units? 300 and what?
This is Clark Hobby for the record again. It would be a minimum of 334, but it's likely to be much, much more, Commissioner. I mean, right now, we're not even planning for any apartments on the project, and it's really intended, I'll have a larger discussion, but this project, if I might just get into my presentation in chief. So I'm here on behalf of the Mitchell family and their entities and West Bay Homes, who's the contract purchaser. We have been working for 4 years with county staff on this. Took about 18 months for Angeline, frame of reference. So an extreme amount of thought has gone into the planning of this site, making sure the eco corridor conveyance is going to occur, and when the SMPUD gets approved, that will trigger the purchase and sale of the eco corridor provisions, and that contract will be coming to you all in about a month or so, and hopefully the closing will occur maybe in a month or so after that. But the project has had a great deal of care from the West Bay planning team, the folks with our engineering folks at Clearview Land Design. I will give the county staff great credit on this one. When we got the first round of comments, the county staff said to us, we're having a problem with people taking down too many trees throughout the county and part of the development projects that we see. Can you guys help? So what happened was our whole team worked together and spent countless hours to design this project to take advantage of this beautiful ranch that I grew up fishing on. My grandfather fished out there for many, many years with the Wolf family that used to own it. And we preserved a significant amount of oak trees on the site, and we're using them as our entry feature and many other amenities throughout the site. We're also building a 4-lane boulevard entrance that goes around in a big roundabout around the trees. So again, we're taking advantage of what nature's giving us, and we're not trying to nuke a bunch of wetlands either. Again, the project's designed to create creations to the Morsani Tract and the eco corridors that lie to our west and to our north. There are folks who use the Mazark Town Canal, which is to the north, to ride horses. And so we've had our team out, they've been brought horses out to the site, and we're trying to create connections through Morsani so that our residents can have an equestrian usage to also get out to the banks of the Mazark Town Canal and use it the way that existing residents are. A lot of discussion about densities on this thing, but I would remind the board it's a large piece of property. It's basically 1,400 acres before the eco corridor transaction occurs. Even with all we're doing today, the net density is less than 2.5 units per acre, and that's because West Bay's intent is not to jam as much density on there, but to build a high-end community that does the things that this has always been planned for. And it's instructive to go back and read the comp plan, because about the same time that Dewey and I first started working on this project in 2008 and 9, the county went through a visioning process for the whole county, and part of it was the creation of the central market area, which includes this area. And the central market area is envisioned as a suburban area with concentrated development and activity nodes with emphasis on employment centers and town centers. And the comp plan specifically says that the area north of 52 between 41 and the Suncoast shall encourage development in that area, and that the development shall be in a form with mixed-use land uses and nodes or clusters that promote higher density integrated with employment, retail, and mutually supportive uses. That is what you are seeing here. We have increased the amount of acreage for the employment on this site. We have provided in the MPUD conditions for the provision of the infrastructure for the employment. We've provided for a school site, we've provided for the retail areas, and we're making a great mixed-use community. So this is one, people can talk about Pasco County being overdeveloped, but this is a community we're going to be very proud of for generations, and I stand behind it 100%. Thank you.
Clark, can you go to the next screen? We don't have these in our packet, any of these,
You don't have what in our packet?
any of these pictures. So this one,
Yeah, on the connectivity plan? Oh, I'm sorry, let me speak to that. I was just speaking with Mr. Henry, our transportation engineer, before I came up here. They just had a meeting with DOT that on the frontage and the sidewalk and multi-use path, the chairman and Commissioner Starkey brought this issue up. Right now, we just had a meeting with DOT recently, and they agreed that if they approve of it, we will be able to install, and we will install a 10-foot multi-use trail on our side along the frontage. So we just have to get DOT's approval for it.
and we worked a lot to work on this trail that is on the back side of this, that is going up, up the wildlife corridor on the edge.
And they're all,
That gets you from 52 up to Crossbar and Albar, and, or, I guess it gets you to Cruise Lake and whatever's above here.
Yeah, that's going into the Cruise Lake and the
Yeah.
Eco Corridor. But again, a lot of work went into this with staff and a lot of departments. And there was a lot of give and take with the developer. At first, we were worried about having, maybe too much of the public, if this will come on. Try it again.
The blue, where the blue.
There we go. We were worried about having high-end homes out in some of these areas and having maybe a little bit too much members of the public out there, but I think our client finally found that that really wasn't going to be an issue, and having the ability to get out in this huge eco corridor that the county's already spent millions and millions of dollars of creating over time and getting through the Morsani tract is more of an amenity to the community that we're going to build than a hindrance to the people who will be the homeowners on that side.
And we have an equestrian facility that we're working on the other side of the wildlife corridor. Our entrance comes in off the other side. But it's going to be great for these residents who, if they market to an equestrian community. And I want to thank Mr. Suggs, Mr. Matheny, and Jordan came on a different trip. We don't have Toxie out on a bike yet, out on Starkey Ranch. But I think Jordan was on my second tour. But I've been taking developers and engineers, done 3 now, for bike rides out on Starkey to see how the trails work and integrate within the community. And I just appreciate you guys riding with me. And I think we had a nice ride, so.
All right.
We'll wait for public comment and answer any other questions you may have.
I appreciate what you just said at the end there. That covered my biggest point, so that was cool. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
All right, time for public comment. We have one person signed up.
Yes, sir, Michaela Kraus.
Michaela Kraus, 35920 Praise Place, Unit 102, Zephyr Hills, Florida, 33541. I have sworn. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I am here today to urge this board to deny the rezoning request for the Mitchell 41 MPUD. I find great inconsistency with the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan. This development is completely incompatible with Northwest Pasco's environment and directly violates county's core saving the land policies. First, this proposal contradicts Chapter 2, Policy 2.1.6. Second, it directly violates Chapter 5, Policy 1.9.1. This massive tract serves as a critical wildlife corridor. It cannot simply be replaced or mitigated away once fragmented. Third, this intense overdevelopment severely undermines Policy Con 1.6.17, running completely counter to the county's mandate to safeguard our vital water resources and regional hydrology. This local disregard for environmental boundaries also directly conflicts with state intent under Florida Statute Section 379.2291 and Florida Administrative Code Rule 68A-27. Commissioners, your legal responsibility is to ensure that comprehensive plan amendments remain consistent with our adopted conservation goals. Please deny this rezoning request. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address P93? Anyone online?
No, sir.
Tell me my name and address again.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Gabriel Quigley, 17595 James Road, Dade City.
And you've been sworn?
Do I need to?
Yes.
Were you sworn?
This
Okay.
part of the agenda, you need to be sworn.
Do you
All right, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God?
So help me God, yes. I'm just going to keep it quick for you guys. When I said that the land brokers and the developers and the retail companies are out of control, this is what I was talking about. These are the people who are coming to you, asking you for an excuse, for permission to make more money. They don't deserve it, frankly. I don't think any of them do. We have enough of this in Pasco County. We don't need to sell off every piece of empty land just because it is empty. I've lived here my entire life. These people are sharks. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else from the audience like to speak? I will close public comment because there's no one online either. That's to the board.
Move approval.
Commissioner,
Discussion. No, I just want to state that this is a state transmittal, and essentially the board is seeking the state's input prior to the hearing of the comprehensive.
No.
That was the other one.
No, it's the other one?
This
The
is
next
a-
one.
This is an
Aren't we on?
amendment.
this is 93, rezoning.
Oh, it's not this one, sorry.
Okay, so we have a
We have a-
first,
We have a motion?
motion and a second. Did you
A
second?
second?
I can second, yeah.
Okay, all right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. And now we'll go to the comprehensive plan, regular
All right,
Two
so,
Rivers transmittal.
That's the one.
so P94 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times April 22nd, 2026, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings.
All right, staff?
Good afternoon, Board. Robert Irving, Planning Development and Economic Growth. This is item P94. It's a comprehensive plan amendment, CPA 2407, CPAL Two Rivers, providing for a transmittal of a comprehensive plan text amendment to sub-area policy flu 7.1.11 Two Rivers PD. Oh, yes. Additionally, we have received letters of opposition that were submitted to the clerk's office after the posting of the agenda. All right, so again, this proposal is a comprehensive plan text amendment to policy flu 7.1.11 Two Rivers PD to allow for an increase in residential dwelling units and non-residential entitlements on approximately 3,405 acres. And it's located on the north and south side of State Road 56, spanning from Morris Bridge Road to Gall Boulevard, US 301. Again, there is the sub-area policy, which is proposed to be amended in this text amendment, and then there is a companion rezoning, RZ 7856, Two Rivers MPUD. So here's the county location. The subject site is located in the South Market area and the urban concentration area. And here's the existing boundary of the overall Two Rivers PD. And here's a context map, just kind of walking you through the various vision roads and collector roads throughout the overall development. So you'll see on the western boundary, there's Morris Bridge Road. Running through, as we go east, there's Two Rivers Boulevard, which runs north-south. There's Colston Avenue that runs east. And then there's Gall Boulevard, US 301. And then in the northeast corner, you'll see two dashed lines. There's Lodgegrass Boulevard and Coates Road. Those are not constructed at this point, but Lodgegrass Boulevard, PDE currently has site plans that we're reviewing to construct Lodgegrass Boulevard, which will provide access to both the county park and the school site. Now, these are the main changes proposed in the text amendment, and these are the maximum levels of development. So to just take a step back, the existing sub-area was adopted in 2008, and there has been no changes since 2008. So the existing sub-area policy allows for land use equivalency matrix to occur, and several have occurred,
but the entitlements on the actual sub-area text have not been updated to reflect such. So some of this is a cleanup, and some of these are new additional requests that are new and non-trip neutral to the project. So of the existing 1,125 age-restricted dwelling units, previously 912 have been exchanged to increase the multifamily by 200 and the single-family residential to 4,047. So of I'm back here. So there's 209 age-restricted units remaining. So of the requested 900 additional multifamily, 133 are considered to be trip neutral. And then the applicant is requesting to add an additional 767, which are non-trip neutral. The use of 300 assisted living facility beds, 480 hotel rooms, 705,000 square feet of retail, and a water park not to exceed 35 acres. One last thing I'll note is when this sub-area was adopted in 2008, it allowed for a maximum of 6,400 dwelling units. The proposal today is for 6,547 dwelling units.
What was that number? Sorry.
So the original was 6,400. Today they're asking for 6,547. So the proposed amendment is consistent with the following comprehensive plan policies: Section Flu A6, PD, Plan Development; Policy Flu 7.1.11, Two Rivers PD; Policy Flu 8.1.2, South Market Area Establishment; Policy Flu 1.8.7, Economic Development; Policy Flu 1.8.10, Preservation of Capacity for Employment Generating Uses; and Policy HSG 1.1.2, Comprehensive Plan Amendments; Policy ED 1.7.2, Promote Tourism Expansion. And this comes to you with a recommendation of approval to authorize transmittal of the proposed comprehensive plan amendment. I'm available if you have any questions.
Any questions for staff?
I do.
Commissioner Whitman?
Chair, was this area of the county designated an opportunity zone in years past?
I believe it was.
Yeah? Do we know what year it was? But it was in an I think that's important to know
It's only
that
been
this,
one iteration, so.
one iteration of it, so for history, so this whole area was in an opportunity zone, and
Interesting.
the opportunity came, which is interesting as time has gone on. So I thought that was important to have on the record, because I never thought that would have ever happened, to be quite honest with you, but times sure have changed.
So follow that up. Is it still? Because I think they just reaffirmed all the opportunity zones again, didn't they?
No, they're getting picked, but.
Ms. Clark Hobby and Mr. Chairman, I am not sure is the answer. But if I might just lead you all through this, because there's been a lot of, I believe, intentional misconstruction of this application online to further certain narratives about what's going on here. As you just heard from staff, the comp plan already allowed for many years 6,400 residential units here. We're seeking 6,547. I heard people in the other hearing, yeah, it's about 2% difference we're asking for on the residential. We are asking for more commercial. We're excited to be asking for the approval for the surf park, and we're asking for some more hotels because we think the surf park will bring in the need for more hotel night stays there. This is not the MPUD, but if you look at what's going on here, the scope of the residential entitlements is not material to the scope of this development. What's important to remember in the bigger picture about Two Rivers is that Two Rivers has been planned since at least 2010 to be the eastern anchor of the urban service area and the South Market area. Except for Wiregrass and now Angeline, it's probably going to be the most important economic driver of the county for the next 50 years. It is being built out by Eisenhower Property Group, and Eisenhower Property Group is building a high-end community, particularly on the south side of 56, They will spend over $50 million in landscaping and hardscape improvements alone south of 56. We've already sold, I believe, 120-something million plus dollar houses south of that area. We've already worked with the county and gotten the regional park sold. We worked for years to align that with where the school site was going to go. The school site's there. We built all of the utilities at our cost, no county cost, to go to the site and through the site. We have built several miles of vision roads through the site with no fee credits. If we were in VOPH, Connected City, and certain other projects, they would have been fee creditable. We haven't asked for a penny. We have also built and are building about 10 miles of multi-use paths within this project. It's a great project. It's something you should be really proud of. I have Tony Miller here who can talk about the surf park, which I'm personally really excited about, and we anticipate will be a major regional and national draw to the site. We felt like that was one thing we were missing. We knew that we were light on commercial, and that's the big change that you see here. We need more commercial. All the studies show that there just isn't enough commercial on this stretch of 56. But again, the reason why this 6.13 mile State Road 56 extension was built from Meadow Point to 301 was this project and two other ones, and this was the biggest one. This project paid for about 60% of lanes 3 and 4, and even after that, it will contribute approximately $50 million in mobility fees to the county. There's a lot to like here.
Is the surf park done? Is the deal closed?
Tony Miller is here, and what he has told me, and I'll just say this on the record, it's very important to his project that the surf park approvals proceed as part of this. His equity investors have been patiently waiting while we work through with staff and the board to get the project to this point. It's taken us over 2 years since the MPUD modification was filed to get to this point, and we're not voting on that today. Today is just the transmittal of the plan amendment. But Tony says his investors are ready to go. He plans on filing for site plan approvals within a couple of months after the zoning is done.
And as we talked, if that surf park does come together, you're not going to need as many apartments because you're going to want to have more commercial.
Right, but that's in the MPUD portion of it, but that will be part of the MPUD condition and the discussion after the transmittal comes back to us.
But it was an important part of the conversation here because I do
We
think...
will not be adding any more apartments if the surf park isn't built.
Okay, very good.
Happy
Okay.
to answer any other questions, otherwise
Any
we'll
other
listen
questions?
to our neighbors.
Okay, we'll go to public comment.
All right, so Michaela Kraus is the only person signed up in person and online, but since she's
Okay.
here.
Please line up if anyone else is going to speak.
Michaela Kraus, 35920 Praise Place, Unit 102, Zephyr Hills, Florida, 33541. I have sworn. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm a resident here today to strongly urge you to deny the proposed comprehensive plan amendment affecting Two Rivers. After reviewing the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan, I find this proposal completely inconsistent with its adopted policies, Chapter 5, Policy 1.9.1. It is also highly inconsistent with Chapter 5, Policy 1.10.4, which encourages passive recreation within a neighborhood like this that has scattered conservation portion lots. It further violates Chapter 2, Policy 2.1.6. Indian Creek, which sits within the water basin of and directly feeds into the Hillsborough River, an outstanding Florida waterway. This directly risks degrading water quality that is already in a vulnerable state, running counter to Florida Administrative Code 62-302.300. Critically, this property provides irreplaceable habitat for state and federally endangered flora. like the clasping waria, sand butterfly pea, Florida golden aster, and the federally protected Miccosukee gooseberry under Florida statutes Title 35, Chapter 581, Section 185, and Florida Administrative Code Rule 5B-40.001. I also have been in contact with the permitting facility, and they did not find any permitting that allows Two Rivers to remove these natural endangered flora. Furthermore, I asked the board to look closely at Goal Con 2 of Chapter 3 of the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan. This applicant has already demonstrated a complete disregard for these standards and Florida Administrative Code Rule 62-296.320 governing open burning. I have sworn and I can verify that this past January 3rd and 4th of 2026, a massive unpermitted open burn took place on this exact Two Rivers property on Grande Dominion Drive that you can see from Morris Bridge Road. And I was driving at 45 miles an hour and could not get a picture, but where this little line is right here, that top of that little circle, in the sand, top of the circle, all the way down to the bottom of the circle, you see it's dark. This was a burn pile, and I contacted the district of Withlacoochee Forest Service, Cassie. Me and her have been chatting it up. She has sent me the recent permitting paperwork. They didn't have permitting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please deny this.
All right, next person?
Cindy Buckle, 5938 Frontier Drive, Zephyr Hills, Florida. And I am asking
Have you been
this-
sworn?
Yes, I have been sworn.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I'm talking about water. Chapter 403, Section 85, 2025, municipalities in Florida are required to provide potable water through public water systems, which must comply with the Florida Safe Water Drinking Act. Now, we are going through a 25-year drought, okay? Have any of you ever run out of water when you're in your shower? Anybody? I'm asking the question. I have, okay? And right now, I'm on a well, and our pressure is dropping. And I also travel throughout Florida and Georgia and measure the springs myself. I have had conversations with Governor Kemp in Georgia regarding the water issues. And I've let him know what's happening here in Florida, in Pasco County, is developers can pump 33 million gallons a day for a lagoon. Now you want to build a 35-acre water park, okay? So when I run out of water, what's going to happen? I'm not going to pay for city water to run down my road. I have horses. Right now, my water's testing with mercury in it, okay? So it's got to stop. At some point, you all have to stop. And the fires, they're not accidents. There's no way these fires are accidents. I know for a fact someone on the board here personally had certain plants, weeds burned because they didn't like them. That started a horrific fire. We are very dry right now. We are not getting the rain. Our aquifer is, there's no way we can recoup the rain. So you keep pumping the 33 million gallon lagoons, now a 35-acre water surf park. We don't need an adventure island out here. We have one that's not very far away. We don't need a 380-room hotel. This is going to cause thousands and thousands of more traffic on 2-lane roads, 301, Morris Bridge Road. I can tell you the number of fatalities that happen on these roads. Every weekend, at least 2 to 3 people die on these roads. Whether they're on the Pasco side or the Hillsborough County side, it does not matter. When you put all those homes in, you're putting people on 2-lane roads. because those roads aren't gonna be widened for a long time. It took 25 years for 54 to get done up to Morris Bridge, because I watched it happen. So I'm just praying to deny this.
Okay. Thank you. To the board, it's a submittal.
Move approval?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Item P95, conditional use.
P95 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times, May 27, 2026, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings.
Good afternoon, Amy Toll with Planning, Development, and Economic Growth. Item before you is PDE 26-CU03. It's a conditional use request in an A.
Amy, do we have to have the whole presentation?
It's up to you.
No. Can we find out, Commissioner Mariano is going to miss his plane.
Absolutely.
Can we see if there's anyone here in opposition?
Yep.
Do you mind that, Jim?
No, I think it's a good idea.
You have an individual signed up.
Okay, and who's that?
This-
Let's just hear from her.
Michaela Kraus.
Okay, we're going to do a public comment.
Michaela Kraus, 35920, Praise Place, Unit 102, Zephyr Hills, Florida, 33541. I have sworn. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I am here today on behalf of myself and my neighbors to urge you to deny the application for the proposed cell tower on the west side of Laner Road, approximately 2,300 feet south of Chancey Road. Our objection is grounded strictly in land use compatibility and public safety under Pasco County's own rules. According to Pasco County Land Development Code, Section 1002, a wireless tower adjacent to a residential zone must meet strict setback requirements to protect our homes. Specifically, unmitigated towers require a setback equal to 2 times the tower height from residential property lines. This proposed tower sits directly against our backyards. It completely fails to meet these mandatory safety buffers, placing a massive commercial structure directly inside the structural fall zone of our residential homesteads. Furthermore, Florida Statute Title 27, Chapters 365, Section 172, and Pasco County Code explicitly state that a new tower should only be built as a last resort. The applicant has a legal burden to prove that they cannot collocate their equipment on existing towers, utility poles, or commercial rooftops nearby. The applicant has not presented exhaustive engineering proof that has a brand new intrusive tower is the only solution for their coverage gap. We ask the board to hold the applicant to the strict letter of the law and reject this application for failing to exhaust nearby commercial alternatives. Finally, the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan's future land use element mandates neighborhood stabilization and land use compatibility, placing a massive industrial-looking tower directly towering over our beautiful backyards and established generational family homesteads completely destroys the aesthetic integrity and character of our neighborhood. It is entirely incompatible with the surrounding residential zone. Commissioners, the rules in the Land Development Code are there to protect the citizens and the homeowners who invest their lives into Pasco County. This application violates those protections. We ask you to enforce our local codes, uphold the comprehensive plan, and deny this application. And I know every single resident in that area. That land they want to put it on has peacocks on it, and I can tell you right now, none of them know that this is happening, and that's why I'm here. I'm trying to stop this. Please, listen to us.
Can I get your address again?
35920 Praise Place, Unit 102, Zephyr Hills, Florida. And I swam in Miss Doc Holmes' pool that is right on Laner Road. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's no one else.
All right, any questions? Anyone else here for public comment for this item?
Gabriel Quigley, 17595 James Road, Dade City.
There?
I don't know my code as well as Ms. Kraus here, but she is right.
No, that's
And now, I just would like to say for the record, because I'm standing in front of people that my tax dollars pay, that I don't care if these LLCs get everything above board. I don't care if they make it all pretty and accessible. I don't want to drive by it. The difference between listening to us and them is that they have money. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Anyone online?
No, sir.
Okay, back to the board.
I cannot find Grace Place at Zephyr Hills. Did you say Grace Place?
Matt, we're done with public comment.
No, but
Sorry.
she asked her a question.
I want to see if it's going to fall in her backyard, like she said. What's your address?
My address is 35920 Praise Place, P as in...
Oh, Praise Place, not Grace Place. Okay.
And I'm here today on behalf of people who don't have a voice, who aren't here, because I love them, and they're my family and my friends. Thank you.
Praise.
There's a document in your, package that shows a 250-foot fall radius in what looks like improved pasture. But you need to hear from the applicant.
Okay, the applicant?
The tower's right down here. The tower's going down here.
Hey, good afternoon. James Johnston with Schutz & Bowen, 300 South Orange Avenue, representing the applicant. We're in agreement with the staff report, which we think supports this application, along with the county's outside consultant and the planning commission. As far as fall zone, I think we provided a fall zone letter, but I do note that it's a 129-foot tower, and it's set back over that, well over that from all property lines. But I'm here to answer any questions if you might have them.
Chair, I assume all the proper noticing requirements and everybody in the area was notified with the mail and know that this is a potential?
Okay, she lives here.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
we followed all the county
Right,
requirements.
so everybody was notified.
Yeah.
Amy Toll, Planning and Development, I can confirm that. So at the beginning of this application, we did receive various letters of objection. Through that process, we actually worked with the applicant to reduce the height and enhance the landscape buffering. And as a result, those letters of opposition, people who did previously have opposition aren't here. So we've worked with them to resolve those issues.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. To the board.
Yeah, it's not going to fall on her backyard. It's not falling on anyone's backyard. So I just wanted to be sure, because that would not be good.
Well, cell towers are a critical piece of our infrastructure. They're not pretty, but we all have cell phones and computers and iPads, and it's just the way our world communicates, and they're just part of our world for now. So with that, I move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. We're going to move back to our items. And if we could, I'd like to go right to R78 first.
Yep.
Hello, Amy Farrell, Budget Director with the Office of Management and Budget. I'm here with item R78, or OMB 260056. So while the presentation is being pulled up, so high level, the purpose of this item is for the board to approve proposed millage rates for the trim millages that will go out on property tax notices, and also set the date, time, and location for our first public hearing. We did two very in-depth workshops, one in June and one in July. So the content for today is going to be a high-level summary and recap of those meetings, and then moving to the meat and potatoes of the presentation, which is setting those millage rates. And again, when we set the millage rates today, we are setting the ceiling on those millage rates. When we come back in September for the first and final public hearings, those millage rates can come down. They just can't come up from what the board sets today. All right, so I'm going to move us through. So we have had a pretty extensive budget cycle up to this point. In January, we looked at strategic plan prioritization and officially kicked off our budget cycle internally. In February, we did updates on major revenue projections, and we briefed the board on all of the ad valorem funded services and resource allocations. March through May, we were refining our budgets with all of our departments internally. In June and July, again, we did some thorough workshops that included constitutional officer budget workshops, and then the board side operating capital, and we reviewed our debt portfolio. Today, we'll be setting trim, and then in September, we're going to come back for the first and final public hearings to adopt the budget. And here you can see the budget that the county administrator is proposing is based on board direction and is responsive to executing the board's strategic plan while also ensuring strong fiscal stewardship.
Oh, no, we have building fees.
All right, so it's the underlying pinnings and assumptions of this budget. We are assuming no change in the operating millage rate, in the fire MSTU millage rate, in the road rehabilitation MSTU millage rate, or the parks millage rate. Also, no change in the stormwater assessment and no change in the solid waste rates. And the water and wastewater rates are increased per the approved rate study. And there are some pressures that are impacting the budget that's in front of you right now. We've got property tax reform pending in November on how that ballot initiative shakes out. We are looking at addressing structural imbalance in the general fund, making sure that our recurring revenue can sustain our recurring expenses while also maintaining our reserve levels. We've got public safety staffing, wage and benefits, that's always kind of a pressure that's out there, general inflation. We have public facilities that we must maintain. We've got Wesley Chapel Library coming online soon. We've got Villages of Pasadena Hills Nature and Bike Park, and then, of course, Medicaid rates that come from the state each year. All right, so in June, we got preliminary taxable assessed values, and you can see for the general fund, we were looking at 6.3% increase, and then the final numbers did come in for July, and it's at 6.8%. To put this into some context, our growth last year was at 11.2%, and then this year you see how that growth is, it's coming down, and we're at 6.8%. So now let's talk a little bit about that structural balance in the general fund. So here's the general fund at the 50,000 foot view. So we've got a starting estimated beginning fund balance of next year of just under 89 million with almost 83 million in revenue coming in and 586 million going out in expenses. Our recurring revenue is a little bit above our recurring expenses. And you can see from the non-recurring line that we're putting some of that recurring revenue back into reserves, and we are able to meet the GFOA recommendation of 60 days by doing that. All right, so here's a pie chart that just illustrates how the general fund expenses are allocated, with more than 50% going to public safety. That includes the sheriff, corrections, emergency management, juvenile detention, the medical examiner, things like that. If we just follow clockwise, then you see that reserves, again, we're hovering around that 60-day target. And then if you keep going, we're looking at mandated and internal support service. So mandated support, when we start talking about services that the state mandates for us to provide, and maybe it comes with a funding source and maybe it doesn't, having open meetings like this today, that's a state mandate, we're mandated to do it, but there is no funding associated. How we fund that is through ad valorem taxes. Our 911 call center, that also gets a subsidy out of the general fund. That's a mandated service, and the funding tied to that is not enough to cover. And then maintaining our public facilities. You can see here in that blue, that's roughly $35 million for us to maintain beautiful buildings like this. And if we keep coming, that red chart, that's our other constitutionals minus the sheriff and our 6 judicial circuit partners. And then if you keep moving to that green bit, that's our outward facing. And then you can see over in the table, that's our parks, community services, libraries, misdemeanor probation, we had a resolution with them here this morning. Our veteran services also falls into that piece of the pie chart. All right, so what are some of the things that we need to be funding out of our general fund? So we're looking at 3% wage increase. We've got retirement rates back from the state. We are expanding the jail. Wesley Chapel Library, we're looking at some operational expenses, one-time startup costs in 27, and then fully funding the personnel in 28. Medicaid, you can see here, was a 6% increase over last year. We've got some one-time operating costs to stand up the VOPH nature and bike park ops, and then the union wages are still in negotiation, so we don't know what that's gonna end up shaking out to be. All right, so last week we did a really deep dive into the change in our major funds, so I'm just gonna hit some highlights here today. So general fund, some of the major increases there, we've got sheriff's budget, corrections for the expansion staffing, contracts for inmate health care and food services, and then we also have some decreases in there where we're taking the rescue-related services out of the general fund and moving those into the fire MSTU fund, so you can see how that one is increasing. And also embedded in that increase is staffing for Station 4 and an additional fire truck at Station 24. I think I got those numbers right. All right, and we spent a lot of time last week also talking about, is that echoing? I'm sorry.
That was weird.
I know, okay, that was a glitch in the matrix. All right, getting back to task. All right, so we spent a lot of time last week doing a deep dive into our 5-year capital plan. And so again, I'll hit some highlights just as a friendly reminder today. So looking at the fire bit, we've got 2 stations that they're planning to build in the next 5 years, Station 31 and 42. For parks, one of the major projects there is the Connerton District Park. If you move down a little bit with me to Public Works, that line right there is the capital plan funded by the Road MSTU. Moving down for solid waste, one of the big components of their CIP is maintaining their waste to energy plant. And utilities, they've got things like wastewater treatment plant expansions, the east and west maintenance facilities, and then Lake Bridge transmission lines. All right, so then if we look at the big summary of our transportation capital plan, we're looking at roughly $376 million of capacity projects, $68 million in sidewalks and trails, about $39 million in signal projects over the next 5 years. All right, so now we're at our millage rate slide, and so this is really I'll call it the meat and potatoes of what the board's taking action on today, and it is setting those proposed millage rates. And again, those are the millage rates that are going to go out on property tax notices next month. It is the ceiling of what the millage rates will end up being. We can always come down at the final public hearings, we just cannot come up. And so this table represents the county administrator's proposed millage rates compared to our current year actual adopted millage. And so you can see right now there's no change being proposed. Now when you look at the general obligation bonds, so these millage rates are set to generate just enough revenue to pay annual debt service for those different obligations. And so you can see that the growth in the county that we're experiencing translates into lower payments per parcel to end up accumulating the same revenue we need to for debt service. Now this next slide, and I think it's my second to last slide, this is how property tax notices would go out with these proposed millages. The state requires us to compare those to the rolled back rate. All right, so board. Do we have any discussion around our proposed millage
I
rates?
think the next slide is the big one.
Oh, we have another one after that?
I thought we had the addendum.
I didn't bring my
I have an-
notes from my meeting.
I have an
They're in
exciting
the car.
proposal for Commissioner Mariano.
I'm interested. Go ahead, Commissioner Whitman.
Shall we pull up supplemental slides?
Yes.
Thank you, Gina. We
All right. Do we have it? So based on the fire STU, so Parks is out of it. And as you know, I've been advocating and we've been incrementally restructuring our budget where MSTUs at 0 take 5 votes. With an MSTU that's existing, you can move it with 4 votes. But I don't necessarily want to get into a squabble. But if we do an incremental reduction, so for the fire MSTU moving rescue, we can move essentially 50%, like the like-for-like discussion, the like-for-like move. So if we were to move, what's the full millage rate for rescue that we were talking about before, that we had in our?
Yeah, it's changed a little bit from your briefings with the final calculations. It was around 0.3, but I think right now it's about 0.199.
So point,
So-
this is with
So this would assume the maximum amount that we would need the fire MSTU millage rate to be to fully absorb rescue without any half-cent sales tax subsidy from the general fund. And so based off our July final taxable assessed value, that millage rate would shake out to be 2.3224, which is an increase of 0.1999 mils, which would require 5 votes at the final public hearing in September.
So, irregardless, we'll have to do this exercise for the fire. But if the concern to incrementally get us there, we can move about half or 50% of that millage and cut that 50% from the general operating, which would show a decrease in the general operating like for the fire MSTU, and then move 50% and show an increase in the fire MSTU, even though it's a wash. It's just a restructuring of the budget.
But you and I know it's a wash, but will the public know it's a wash?
Either way, we're going to have to go through this exercise, whether it's today or next year. So if we do it now, my opinion is it locks in at least even 50% of that full millage rate, and it cuts the difference of what we're doing. Whether the property tax issue passes or not, what it does is it helps to codify that funding. It helps to grow that fund by, what was it, Mike? Because it compounds over the next 12 months. It'll help grow that fund and pad the fire fund for those services versus the general operating fund being padded, growing with interest. I'm probably using the wrong vernacular here. But the compounding interest effect will go into the fire fund versus the general operating fund, which will benefit the fire MSTU. And so I know the concern based around the parks and others that commission being sensitive to Commissioner Mariano's point was too much movement in the general operating millage. But I viewed this as, if we were able to do 50%, hypothetically, which you can do that with 4 votes instead of 5, that it would help get the fire fund to where it needed to get rescue whole, and then do the remaining balance next year. Either way, we're going to have to go through this, but if we do it sooner than later, if you're betting or planning that the property tax issue passes, you're padding that fire rescue fund, which in my opinion builds it, and then it's less that potentially have to worry about for next budget cycle. Now, this is just all Seth theory here. Amy and Mike could probably help articulate it a little bit better, but I was just looking at ways of compounding funds and interest while still working to try to do like-for-like and restructure the budget without getting too complicated. But no matter what, this is the exercise that this board is going to have to follow, whether it's this budget cycle or next budget cycle. So,
You mean next year?
yes.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. I mean, whether people are going to see a decrease in general operating mills and an increase in the fire rescue MSTU, these are the mechanisms and the methodology we have to follow, so it doesn't matter when they see it. They're going to see it no matter what. So, but I'm of the mindset of let's keep incrementally restructuring the budget and at least going through and getting the fire MSTU work done, that we don't have to worry about it. We're
Well, only be
accomplishing-
half of it.
Well, that's with 4 votes. If Commissioner Mariano comes on and supports it, that's 5 votes. So I'm saying with 4 votes
No,
because
you're
it's,
only saying to move half of it.
right, that's if Commissioner Mariano says, no, I don't want to do anything with the MSTU. Because MSTU is funded, if an MSTU is funded, the board can make a millage rate adjustment with 4 votes. And it's roughly 50% of what it would get to with the 5 votes.
But are you suggesting to move half of it or a section of it over this year and the other section next year?
Essentially half of it, but I
Right.
wanted to pitch it out there, see if Commissioner Mariano, because he was uncomfortable with a number of different things.
You can go to 110% with 4 votes under the new law.
Well, we don't need to do that.
Yeah, but I'd like to see the board be unified and make sure everybody's get comfortable as we're going through
Well,
this exercise, because I think
110%
we're
of
getting
rollback.
better.
Of rollback, right,
Yeah.
which is why the numbers are a little wonky. They're a little lower actually than what we did. So actually you're moving it a little more than 50%. What the commissioner is suggesting here is an incremental approach to it. I mean, this was the path that the board was on prior to workshop discussions and then property tax reform, which kind of complicated things. The path was to take, go to motion. Let me just walk through this real quick.
Because no matter what, we're funding rescue out of the general fund budget. We're going to have to do that again. So
It's just a story.
It's contrary to what the fire rescue MSTU is for. So
Let me walk through it real quick, just some options, because we've kind of laid this out in a way that hopefully will be easier for the board to consider. Amy, next slide. So motion 1 would be no change to the operating millage. This is what we took away from the workshop, right? After all the conversations that were had, this was the direction that we took from that, and this is what's been presented to you today. Motion 2 is the path that we were on really prior to the workshop. At the beginning of the year, we were looking less a Parks MSTU, right? Parks is still set at 0 under this scenario, but the original board direction was let's move rescue out of the general fund into the fire fund, and so that's actually the number. That is the right number, 0.1999. It's lower than what we had originally anticipated. You'll see that Parks is 0, but originally we were looking at cutting Parks by a like amount. At the end of our workshop, it was discussed that this year there's a lot going on, and maybe that's complicated. And so if you start showing a cut and a reduction in different places on the trim notice, that could create confusion. Now, the difference here is that we are showing this now in the context of the voting requirements that are needed for each of these at the final public hearing. This hearing for trim only requires simple majority vote, but when we get to the final public hearing, this motion, especially for the fire and rescue MSTU, would require unanimous consent of the board. In order to do that, the operating millage would require 4 consenting votes in order to make that happen. Motion 3 is sort of the hybrid of what Commissioner Waitman is referring to. It's in line, with what we've discussed previously, but provides consideration for a 4-vote requirement. So basically, as Commissioner Waitman says, you're sort of taking a bite at the apple, but you would have to take another bite at the apple next year as well. And so I think the point he's trying to make is, well, we're going to make some incremental progress. Ultimately, it's a policy call. We've solved the technical issues related to the budget with it this year with half-cent sales tax, so we've been able to balance it. I would say that next year, regardless of what you do here, you would either need to finish the job or do the whole job next year.
Yeah,
So, Commissioner, I think I'm in agreement with you.
Thank you, that feels good.
I think it does.
There's something wrong with it.
It does take a little more conversation with the public to let them know that we're building our MSTUs in important arenas where the growth will stay with them and kind of protect them in the future. And I think that's the way that what we want to do, and that's how we explain it. And on the big picture, I'll tell you where I am. So, you know, if we weren't having this debate on property tax craziness like we are, I would even today want to say, let's just roll that millage back just a little bit like we have done for the last 4 years.
Last 3 years.
Yeah. And so today I think we need to stay where we are, but maybe do that fire MSTU and, rescue. But I think at our final budget here, when we have to do our final one, is that October?
So at the end of September, you would have your final budget, your budget adoption hearing, and that is where you will vote on the final millages. So
Okay.
if you
Right,
reduce
yeah, that's
millage to 7.2593, we will need 4 votes in the affirmative to
Well,
solidify
no,
that, or
I would not
even
do that to
if
us.
you wanted to cut it, you could do that too. But you would also need 4 votes in the affirmative to make the 2.2674. If you had less than that,
So-
then you would be stuck at 2.1225 or some other number in
Yeah.
between.
So my suggestion is, I wish it was October, not September, but I guess, yeah, we start October 1st. But we need to see where the polling is, because on the amendment passing, and then we have to make then we,
Right, so-
say Hail Mary,
I got one poll to do right now, though.
What?
I want to do one poll right now.
Okay.
Commissioner Yeager.
That's
where I am.
I'm for the 72593 millage.
Is that the rollback rate?
Oh, that's the fire.
No, that would be the reduction in the general operating
Oh,
fund.
on number 3? Yeah.
Right,
so
so
am I,
you are
yeah.
increasing the fire rescue MSTU by a like amount.
Right.
So, but you were saying that you wanted to keep it same, which would be 7.4.
Well, no, I would do what Seth is talking about today, but it keeps us the same amount of money right now. It's just a little bit is moved into a different category. So the people will see on the total, it's the same. It's just that part of that millage is moved into the rescue MSTU. So then if we look, so in September, if it looks like that amendment isn't going to pass, I would continue our slight rollback in our millage rate that we have been doing for the last 3-4 years. Just incremental, just a little bit.
You're not,
All right, so-
we get an argument here.
I know, well, I've said that every year.
All right, so let me-
Sometimes you just want too big, you want to go bald, and I just want a little haircut.
All right, so Commissioner Yeager, this one here, we're taking the millage back down from the operating. We're adding into the fire rescue. The
Yeah.
bottom line number that people are going to pay
Stays
is the same.
It's the same, yeah.
You okay with that?
Yeah.
Stay the
All right,
same.
'cause- and I'm going to say, part of my thing from the workshop that we had, is I just didn't want to make this too complex where I depended on something with
Yeah,
5
so
votes, when I may not get it, and all of a sudden it changes, and now we're putting ourselves in a bad position. So with that, I'm okay with this motion 3.
Yeah, it's
It's
continuing,
a good little,
our 3
Yeah.
years
I think we can tell the story.
of restructuring, and it's, look, we've moved rescue in, this is your designated money, and when people understand, look, this fund can't be robbed, and your fire and rescue services are protected, I'm not come across anybody who opposes it. In fact, they prefer it because they can see it.
I think I normally stay out of the policy discussions, but since it's my last board meeting.
Wait a minute.
I think you'll do, putting the money into the fire and rescue is an easier sell, should be an easier sell to the public with the corresponding cut to the general operating.
Yeah.
I mean, if the board's, I'd do the whole thing now. I mean, either way, we're going to have to go through this exercise. So this is 50% of what needs to happen. I'd be willing to do the full 100%, then that fire rescue MSU is done. It is done. It's
Then
no
we do
more-
parks next year.
And then it's no more work to be done, and it's the same premise whether you do 50% or the 5-0 and do the full. And then that restructuring of that fund is finished.
What's
Like-
that number?
Like we are there, and then we can go and work.
but
other
I
pieces
just
of the
don't want to
budget.
put, because you never know what's going to happen, I don't put anything on where I have to have 5 votes for any part of it.
I know.
This 4 is a great idea.
I'm
great-
sensitive to that.
Great, and I'm very pleased that you come up with this idea. I think it's brilliant. So I think that works good. We did the millage cut we want, but there's still protecting fire rescue. We only need 4 votes, and I feel very strongly that we're going to get that done. I don't want to go through, we went through the first year, battling. This here, I think, is something it's good for everybody. I think it shows well for the commission, cutting again, at the same time protecting fire rescue, which is what we need to do to keep the service up where people want it.
Because
Now, let's talk about the overall polling with the property tax. So from everything that's out there, and I guess the last 3 have failed, but this is a different time. This is affordability time. So I think when people see what we've done here, and people look at what the county actually does, when they look at the parks, when they look at the libraries, when they look at the public safety things around it, when they look at social services, I think people are going to look to say, you know what? We're not changing the public safety benefit. We're protecting schools. That's 75%. So all this big hullabaloo is all about 25%. And what we saw today from Sean, I think they said, matter of fact, I got the numbers here. From 2021 to 2025, the state government budget went up 50%.
Yeah.
What was our number? I don't think we're much different. So they're going to tell us how to go cut, how to go run the county, when they just did the same thing in the state, and they couldn't even get a cut on their sales tax. They talk about 0.25%. And when I look at Florida Tax Watch, where they would have to go to offset all these things that are out there, they got to go from 6% to 15% in the sales tax. That would kill the Panhandle and all those small counties. And with the declining revenues coming, I mean, I think they're opening up a can of worms. I think people are going to wake up and say, you know what? We don't like this idea. We like the way Florida's running. We like what we're doing. We like what quality of life is. And I think this board can be proud of everything we've done over the years and where we're going for direction-wise. So I think that number at 64%, the first polls I saw, is going down. And I saw USA Today did a poll. They used 3% more Democrats than Republicans, but that number showed it dropping and losing at 54%. And I mean 54% supported not doing it. So they only got 46. So I think, you know, between protecting schools, protecting public safety, I think people I don't want to protect their quality of life. It's important. But I think we got a good first step, and we got something that looks good to the public, and I think that when they look at the numbers at the bottom of the line of the tax bill, I think they're going to be happy.
Don't do half or all,
Okay, is that a motion?
like you talked about.
Yeah.
So I want to clarify, so there's two things that we'll be making a motion on, and so it sounds like it would be motion 3 for the proposed millage rates, and then also setting the first public hearing for Wednesday, September 9th, 2026, at 5:15 PM here in Dade City in this room.
So, question, Chair? So we would, so the maximum general operating mills on the trim notice would go out as 7.2593.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Do I have a motion?
the motion that everybody seemed to like.
Which would be
Second.
motion number 3. We have a
Motion
motion or a second?
With Amy's date,
With
adding the
Amy's
date.
date.
For the first public.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. All right.
Can we point out that I just asked, why is Mr. Monopoly sitting in the audience?
Today's the day.
So he lost a bet. I just want everyone to know.
Or he's winning a bet, one of the
Why is
way,
the
yeah.
Monopoly man sitting?
So,
It's a cross between a bet and a dare.
all right, so I'm going to pass the gavel to Commissioner Waitman. I've got a flight I got to connect to go to NACO, so I'm leaving a little bit early for the presentations.
Yeah.
Thank you all very much.
All right.
Thank you, Jack.
Have a safe trip.
Be safe.
Give Seth the hammer, yeah.
I don't really need it, but, all right, committee reports. Commissioner Oakley.
Actually, sir, we have one more regular
one
item
more
still.
Oh,
You
we
have something
do?
else.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, see, already messing up.
Huh?
How
wrong
can you
with you?
avoid, I mean, how can you not see?
R76, JP.
Thank you. For the record, JP Murphy, Director of Building Construction Services. I have been sworn in. You're welcome, Mike. So earlier in the morning session, we talked about the effects of House Bill 803. There are 6 big effects that affect the Building Construction Services Department. 3 of them are tackled through this resolution, and the primary business of the resolution is to change our fee structure for those commercial fee types and other fee types that were based on valuation and converting them to a per square foot charge. Let's see, was this one? So I will not follow this agenda because it is late in the evening, but real quick, we haven't talked to you about building fees since 2008, if you can believe it. We've not changed the building fees since that time frame. There have been some additions of a technology fee and some unlicensed contracting fee, but by and large, we've not talked about fee increases or structure since that time frame. So the BCS fund is a special revenue fund. We operate like a business. We are not at all tax supported, so We don't get involved in a lot of the tax amendment conversations that we just had. It should be understood, though, that all of the funds that BCS collects is for the use of the Florida Building Code and is very limited in the expenditures that it can be spent on. We do have 5 principal fee types. We have general base fee, a site review fee, plan review fee, and then what we will call building permitting fees. That's going to cover your structural, your mechanical, your electrical, your plumbing fees, and then finally some ancillary service fees. Just to be clear, our 2104 fund, our building services fund, may not fund planning, zoning, other governmental activities not related to obtaining a permit. You can't fund permits not related to activities not related to enforcement of the Florida Building Code or any other ordinance. So that is to say that you can't take some money out of the BCS fund to go do some other fun stuff.
Without a legal opinion.
What's that?
Without a legal opinion.
That's correct. You know, we'll miss having your legal opinion on these things. We love asking that question. So I mentioned House Bill 803, the key driver of why we're before you today. The top 3 things: the elimination of value-based inspection fees. There are some new permit exemptions I will briefly discuss, and then we have some additional fee reductions for third-party inspections, also known as private provider inspections. A couple other things you should know about is there's some expanded timelines for single-family permit expirations. It's either 1 year or 3 years, depending on when that permit comes in. We've already discussed the manufactured homes, and there will be a uniform building application. Our Acela program is going to be handling the programming of that for us because they have so many customers in the state. It's not really a concern for us. Some fee considerations I talked about. We've not significantly increased the fees, and that's not what we're doing here. We are simply changing one structure for another. We've used the term that this is a Band-Aid fix. We have engaged Stantec to do a full fee study to look at what it costs to provide the services that the building construction services provides. We expect that study to be complete and in front of you by the end of Q4. So there may be some short-term upset with how the structure works if you compared some projects prior to this structure change, but it will be short-lived because a full fee study is going to come to you in the Q4 of the year. Most of our projects, particularly on the residential side, are already charged a flat fee or a per square foot fee, but on your commercial projects, you know, from mild to wild, they were always charged on a valuation basis. And this isn't a problem that's unique to Pasco County. Of our neighboring counties, 4 of the 5 we're still using a valuation-based system, so they're faced with this problem as well. So for comparison purposes, to provide you, well, what will it cost? That data wasn't really available because it's all over the place. So I mentioned the 5 fees. We're only going to touch the 2 fees, our admin fee and our permit inspection fees. The methodology here is I took 3 years worth of commercial data, particularly because commercial is mostly what this affects. Took 3 years of data. I looked at not only the straight line averages, we looked at where projects fell, and we did some weighted average based on the number of overall permits in those, and kind of tried to find the best fit number that recovered just the revenue we would have recovered if we charged it under a square foot basis. So what that led us to is our residential permits. We already had language in the current resolution that just says charge it per square foot. And so Commissioner Starkey, to your comments earlier this morning when Sean Foster was talking about that $3 million home wouldn't get charged based on $3 million of value. It would have gotten charged on I believe you said it was 3,000 square foot or whatever the size of the home was. So it would have get charged a per square foot for that. So similarly, so you only
They got charged on the value of the home.
Correct, and that's what we're fixing on the commercial side and eliminating on the residential side.
We don't do that, do we?
We do.
Oh, well, you're kidding me.
Yeah. So we don't need more if you pass this resolution.
Okay, no, we shouldn't be doing that.
We need less regulation.
I mean, it's just by the time, not by the value.
Correct. Yeah, so one of the things that our fee study is going to look at is how long does plan review inspections, there's 27 inspections on a residential home walking through the door. What does that time cost Pasco County to be able to provide those services, and look at that holistically? So when we bring that back in Q4, we'll have a better understanding of what that looks like and charge those fees accordingly. So it'll be more of a cost recovery fee instead of just based on the size and scope of the project. We've always used size and scope as a corollary for how to charge on.
I can see size because that's time, but value, I don't see it.
Yeah, we totally agree with you. You know, and the example I like to use is when you look at a residential new home, if you have a 2,500 square foot home, that may be builder grade versus a custom builder grade, it's the same 2,500 square foot.
Yeah.
Our plan review doesn't differ whether you
Right.
have marble floors and marble
Exactly.
countertops or just, you know, LVP and Corian. So that doesn't change. The types of fixtures doesn't change, but that value could wildly move a permit value. So we seek to eliminate that in our fee study by looking at what are those task elements that the county provides just cost. So for commercial, kind of same example. In Pasco County, we have basically 3 major occupancy types that we see. Those are going to be your, how do you do this? There we go. Institutional occupancies, which are, think of your hotel or your hospitals, your ERs, the Moffats of the world. We have commercial alterations, commercial new, and then we have business and mercantile. And so when we talk about occupancy classes, for purposes of this study, one of the things that we wanted to focus on was we understood that those institutional classes are going to come in. Those are the big dollar permits. Over 50% of our institutional permits that came in above $2. The bottom 50% is below $2, but still hover be between $1.50 and $2 per square foot on a valuation basis. Again, we're not trying to increase fees. We're just trying to recover the same rate during the time frame until we get the fee study fixed. So that is being charged specifically at $1.81 per square. However, on our business and mercantile, what we would call an alteration, a move in, move out, right? So a business owner buys, is going into a retail space, or they buy a building and they want to go move into it. Rather than charging them the full $1.07 per square foot a new construction would cost, we're looking at a 65 cents per square foot, so roughly 40% cut to that, so that it's more affordable. We're not dinging smaller projects that may be occupying a larger square foot space, because that's where the incongruency comes in when you move from a valuation base to square foot, because as your size of your project goes up, that's where your permit fees go up. But valuation doesn't always go up in accordance with the size and scope of the project. So we were sensitive to that when we made those modifications, and you can see that in this chart. And these were actual projects. We had some car washes. I do apologize. There is one error on this that I caught while I was reviewing this. This new square foot base fee for the assembly of the restaurant should be about $5,300. So you can see versus our old fee and our new fee, there are some projects that would come in at a much lower rate, but then some projects that are going to break even or maybe come in just a little higher. And that's just the nature of how moving to an averaging will work while we're studying that the full effects of the fee study will cost. But by and large, we were sensitive and didn't want to run into a situation where we're overcharging a permit that may have come in a few months earlier. And that's one of the things that we were controlling for. And again, just to point out, kind of based on the dollar where we were, that business and mercantile is targeted to small business commercial alterations. Your businesses and your retail operations, anything that's coming in as occupancy of business or mercantile, that alteration will come in at 65 cents. And your institutional, rather being the $4. So for example, we had one commercial project that came in with a $400,000 permit value. Just on the building permit fee, that's not including plan review or the trades or anything else. That's the single line fee. And that, fixing that situation, I think was the intent of the Florida legislature when they included that language in 803. And this is how we're going to be responsive to that. Any questions on the commercial and valuation fees before I move on? That's kind of the meat and potatoes of what's happening. There are some other flat fee fixes because of the nature of you don't have square footages on windows, so we put some flat fees in there to just to fix that. Moving on to administrative fees and exemptions, we already have a third-party provider fee that if you're building a new home and you're using a private provider, it's $600. If you're building a new business or an alteration, It's $980 if you're using a private provider. One of the requirements of 803 is that commercial projects need to reduce down 25% per trade, whether they're doing a plan review or whether they're doing inspections. When we're doing 100%, we're doing away with the building permitting fee for those projects and just charging them a flat permitting administration fee. What a lot of folks don't take into consideration is the whole life cycle of the permit when they think about it. It's not just plan review and inspections. It's everything from an intake. We have a custom private provider team to make sure all those documents are correct. They have to review everything. They also look at some of, we have a DCR team that's going to look at the code requirements. If it's in a flood zone, they got to look at the flood requirements. But a lot of stuff that's got to get looked at. That's just before it gets approved. Then once it's approved, we still have the full life cycle of public records and everything else that has to happen after that. So recovering a reasonable administration fee is what we aim to do here. And basically what we've done is for those projects that are going to be less than those 980 thresholds per trade, it's basically $45, a general base fee for each of those trades that come in that cover our administrative costs. That is based off of a 2021 study that didn't ever get published, but we did do the time study on that. So those numbers are grounded in some actual data on how long it takes us to administer those programs for private providers. So including those 3 additional new lines in the resolution is there so we can be compliant with 803. And then finally, the big one, any questions on private provider? Okay, I'm trying to go quick because I know it's getting late. Finally, the big one, and one I just want to dispel rumors on, is the $7,500 permit exemption. There is a $7,500 permit exemption where an owner or an owner's contractor can do work as long as it doesn't touch structural, mechanical, electrical, or plumbing. If you think about all the permit stuff, there's not a whole lot that's left over after that. Drywall is in a gray area, it's particularly over a certain amount of drywall, it becomes part of the structure of the home. Windows, doors are still structural. We're basically talking about flat work, you're talking about stucco, you're talking about kitchen renovations that don't touch the plumbing or the electrical, you want to do your cabinets. So we don't expect to see a whole lot of these exemptions coming in. An applicant is required to request an exemption to us. That is going to be done by a simple PDF. It's available on our website. They send it to us. We have a team that's going to look at it in an email and go, yes, no, it requires a permit. If a home is in a single family dwelling is in a flood zone, it is not eligible for the $7,500 exemption. Work has to be done still by a licensed contractor. So if somebody's doing unlicensed work for value less than $7,500, it's still a violation. The sheriff's office may pursue charges on that. We will not be doing that. And then finally, splitting projects is not allowed. So you can't do, I want to do $15,000 worth of work in a kitchen, and I'm only going to do the front half of the kitchen on this permit and the back half, and that doesn't work that way. So, but one of the oddities is we're not allowed to ask for copies of contracts when we're requesting building permits. It's not legal. However, they have to provide a copy of the contract or the cost of materials when requesting the exemption. So that language is included in this resolution as well. So other than that, I'm good. Any questions?
I have some questions. Not necessarily on this.
Okay.
But, okay, well, where does a driveway permit come in here? Right-of-way use permit come in?
Right-of-way use permits, if it's with a new build, so if it's a new construction home, that right-of-way use permit will come in together with the new permit. And BCS facilitates that, but the Planning Development Economic Growth Department facilitates right-of-way use permits.
So I've had new homes built in my community, and they have paved the whole front yard, brand-new homes. And so I just almost think you should just throw that right-of-way use permit out the window because there's no enforcement of it. The only people that get caught up in it are the people who are trying to do it legally. And then you say, oh, you can't have 2 driveway cuts, you're only allowed to have 1. And so the people who are honest get stopped and the people who don't care just do it. So that's number 1. Number 2, we have this problem that someone in the county thinks that paver blocks are permeable.
Pervious surface.
Pervious. Yeah, I can tell you where he lives, you cannot have paver block in the first 7 feet, well, at least Sarasota County. And you're in Manatee? Sarasota County, could be in Manatee too. You have to do a poured apron in that first 7 or feet or whatever, and then you can do the paver blocks. And because I've seen it in Gulf Harbors, when I first moved in there, the county had to go in and do some work on someone's paver block driveway. I'm not sure if it was FGOA back then. And they were very upset at the way they had to put it, when they put it back together. And they said they were gonna sue, and I had FGOA out there, and they said there's nothing we can do about it, you know. And they may break the bricks when they take it out to do the work, but you're in the easement area, and they don't have to replace your whole driveway if there's no more matching brick there. So what is your department doing about these driveways and these yards that are bricked over because you guys consider them impervious from end to end, front to back?
Well, thank you for that question. I will start by saying my department is going to work with the Planning Development Economic Growth Department, who is the department that has the authority over the pavers and the use of the driveways, the right-of-way use permit. I will tell you that we have been on several calls.
How is it the planners that have it, when they're not the ones that go out and?
It's under the Land Development Code.
Huh?
It's under the Land Development Code, I think.
Yeah, pavers are not a Florida.
So the right-of-way use permit is with the planners?
Correct.
Yes.
They issue the right-of-way use permit?
Yes, ma'am.
The planner?
It goes through that department. It's
Development Review Services would be the division of the planning department that handles.
Well, it's falling apart.
that's
It's not working.
Public
Site
Works.
inspections.
Every day I send y'all pictures of,
Bonding,
not working.
all that kind of stuff.
It's not working.
Well, we're having conversations on enforcement, because that's really what this amounts to, is enforcement.
I just had
If they were here, they would.
They poured the whole front yard of concrete 2 weeks ago. And I let people know that it was formed up, and,
And those
no
are
one came
code
out.
complaints. If you do see them, you can.
What?
Those are code complaints. They're not.
I'm not
vertical
turning in my whole neighborhood.
But that's not
That's not
part
my
of,
job.
that's not part of the fee schedule either.
I think this would
so you
be,
may
I
want-
All right.
think this would be good for a
Okay,
meeting.
I'm good with your fees.
So this is an action item and it requires
my
a motion
frustration.
and a vote. Is there any other comment on this item?
I make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
No nays, it passes. All right.
All in favor of skipping committee reports?
Yes, I'll do mine next time.
Okay, well, before we do that, Mr. Steinsnyder?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know this was your last meeting, because you're coming back for a party.
Or wait, does Mike, do you have something? Mike?
No, this is why I was just going to say that it was Jeff's last meeting, so I promised to make him earn his paycheck today. So
Yeah.
we made sure that the agenda was heavy.
He added a few items to the agenda just to make things.
Just
Yeah.
for insurance.
Mr. Steinsnyder, we will give you the mic to,
We're going to yield all
Make it
our time
short.
to you.
yep.
Yeah, no, I said most of what I wanted to say at the last meeting with a resolution, but I thank you for approving David's contract today.
Yeah.
He
Congratulations,
will,
David.
Oh, wait, did we do that?
you did that. He will be a great attorney for you in the future, and I've enjoyed my 17 years of
17 years.
representing you all most days.
That's
I can
fair-
remember
that's
one
a
or two.
fair- That's a very fair statement.
Parse that out.
Well, the partying, there's 2 events still coming up for him. Am I supposed to say that?
Well, you can, yeah, I
I don't know.
think
I don't know if
so.
they're surprised.
Yeah.
I know
So
nothing.
I
I know
am,
nothing.
I am working till the 31st, but this is my last board meeting because you only have one board meeting in July.
Yeah,
So, but
All right.
thank you very much.
Mr. Steinsnyder,
it's been fun sitting next to you.
thank you for
Thank you.
17 years, right? 17 years?
Yeah,
Well done.
yeah.
Yep.
Jeff, I always forget my pen, and today I forgot my pen again, and you walked up to me and gave me this pen.
And
So
he
I'm
gave
gonna
me this
keep
one
it,
too.
okay?
He gave
I'm
me this
keeping
one
this.
too. First
we
he gave me
have-
his really nice pen, then he switched to this.
Nope. Ladies and gentlemen,
Get ready, David, you have to come with a whole bunch of pens.
we will adjourn this meeting. All done. Thank you.
Keeping my, I wish you could.
Seth, you have to since Jack was gone.
No, we're not.
So we'll add your name.
That's awesome. I will need it. I want you to keep that book.
favorite color in the whole world, Rose. Yeah, yeah.
Is that all of them?
Oh, that's just fine. Just the one. Oh, they're good. I'm gonna try not to. I know, I'm gonna try not lose it. If I still have it in 6 months.